please. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Palm Beach Delegation meeting and public hearing, as well as a local bill presentation. And before we get started, I would just like to announce that we are going to be TPing the local bill, temporarily postponing the local bill until our next delegation meeting. So if we have anyone who has traveled here to the beautiful city of Green Acres to speak on that bill, please be advised that the bill will not be heard today. It will be heard at our next delegation meeting, which will be November 30th. So you're welcome to leave, or we would love to have you stay and be part of our delegation meeting. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the beautiful city of Green Acres and thank them for hosting us today. And with that, I would ask that we stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and I'd like to recognize Mayor Flores to come forward, and is he here? There he is. There he is. Right on cue. Couldn't be better timing. Mayor Flores, you are recognized.
All right. First of all, I want to thank the delegation for being here a second time. I had the pleasure of introducing myself this morning and welcoming the Palm Beach County delegation. Also the county commissioners, I believe they're going to be here today. But no, basically what I want to say is welcome to Green Acres. We are the workforce housing of Palm Beach County. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an example of what we were able to accomplish last year under Senator Powell's leadership and Representative Silvers, who helped us get some money into the city. And for those of you that saw some construction as you came in, that's the state dollars at work. We had a project which was septic to sewer, and we already broke ground. We're working. This is a project that has been a priority of mine since I came into office. We have right here, this is called the original section of Green Acres, and we have over 400 homes that are still in septic. So our goal is to transition them into sewer. Obviously, clean water is not only important to Green Acres, but to the county as a whole, and I know the state of Florida is making that a priority as well. And additionally, across the way here in this area, we are going to be building an early children learning center, state of the art, and it's something that we're extremely proud of. And under your leadership, and I know Representative Casello also helped get this project off the ground, but we received some funding, and that's what some of the great stories that come from Tallahassee, the work that you do. I simply want to say thank you on behalf of the city of Green Acres. We're very, very thankful. We're going back up there this year to ask for a little bit more to help with the septic to sewer. But welcome to Green Acres. This is the workforce housing. These are the folks that make it happen in Green Acres and in the county, and I'm extremely proud of who we are and the people that we represent. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, and we are so delighted to be here. And as this is an official meeting, not a workshop, but an official meeting of the delegation, I would ask that we go ahead and have a formal roll call. Vicki, you're recognized for a roll call.
Senator Berman.
Here.
Senator Harrell.
Here.
Senator Polsky.
Here.
Senator Powell.
Here.
Representative Caruso.
Here.
Representative Casello.
Here.
Representative Edmonds. Representative Gossett-Seidman.
Here.
Representative Roth.
Here.
Representative Silvers. Representative Skidmore.
Here.
Representative Snyder.
Here.
Representative Waldron.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to do a very special presentation and say thank you to Senator Tina Polsky, who was our chair last year, and she's even here. How convenient. But as our chair last year, I was delighted to be her vice chair, and her leadership has been very much appreciated here on the delegation. She's been a member of this delegation for 6 years, and we so appreciate all her hard work on behalf of the constituents of Palm Beach County. And with that, this is a special plaque presented to Senator Tina Polsky, Chair, Palm Beach County Legislative Delegation, 2022 through 23, with appreciation for your dedication and leadership as Chair of the Palm Beach County Legislative Delegation. And we thank you for all you do.
Does this work?
Let's get it, let me,
All right.
somebody get a
If you need a
picture.
backup.
You gotcha.
Senator Polsky, my photographer's going to come around and take your picture.
Oh, okay, sure.
Oh, wonderful photographer here.
Oh, I didn't know where
There
you
we
were
go.
running to.
Put the flag for Florida behind him.
Oh, that's like close.
Thank
you.
It's all right.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know what a hard job it is, so thank you for all your hard work. But I also would like to, do we have any elected officials here that are not going to be actually presenting to us? We have our constitutional officers presenting today. If there's any electeds, no, I don't see any. And as I said, the local bill will be TP'd.
One.
Oh, is Ann?
Yep.
Is she not presenting?
Yes.
Oh, is she
She's presenting.
Okay.
If you're not presenting, Yes, and I'd like to remind everyone, if you would like to comment, we will have a public comment period following everyone who's already previously signed up. We will hear from our local officials and constitutional officers first, then we will go to all those who have already made presentations to us, signed up, given us information. If you are not among that group, and we are going to be, it's going to be a very long meeting. We have 36 people presenting. So we will, please fill out one of the comment cards and get it to Vicki.
The comment cards are outside on the table.
And they're outside on the table. Get a comment card, fill it out, please, and give it to Vicki so that we can hear you at the end of the meeting, as long as we have time to hear you, given the time constraints that we do have. But we do want to thank you for being here. And, okay. What we'd like to do is we're here from, and remind you that our final meeting will be in Belle Glade, 1 to 3, at the Belle Glade Library and Civic Center. At that point, we will be hearing the local bill. So as I said, it's TP'd, we'll see that. And those of you who are interested can always watch us on TV anytime. We are live streaming it right now on Facebook. So if you want to watch yourself when you speak, you can come back and watch it. And then also it'll be shown on Palm Beach County TV. And that is channel 20, AT&T channel 99, and streamed 24 hours a day on the county website. So you're most welcome to check in and see what all happened. And with that, we're going to go ahead, and we have no other electeds here other than those presenting. So we're going to start with our constitutional officers, and we will start with Wendy Satori Link, Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. And that will be followed by Dr. Gunta from the Department of Health.
Near the door.
Where's-
Wendy.
One second. I don't see Supervisor Link.
Supervisor is not here. We will come back to her should she arrive. And Dr. Gunta, if you would like to go to the podium so that we can all hear you and that you are officially on TV.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. And my name is Dr. Gunta. I am the new Palm Beach County Health Director, taking over after Dr. Alina Alonso retired in April of 2023. And I am here just to tell you all that, what I see as my vision for Palm Beach County Health Department, which is definitely our vision is to be the healthiest state in the nation. And so I hope to accomplish that in many different ways. I mean, the health department oversees many, many different services, and it is definitely a huge responsibility, but there are lots of opportunities to improve and to achieve that goal of being the healthiest state in the nation. So one of the things that I suppose I'm going to speak about today is the fact that we had asked, we do have 2 state-owned buildings in Palm Beach County, and most of our counties in the state of Florida, there's 67 counties, so there's very few state-owned buildings. Most of the buildings are county-owned, and then the state actually holds their services in those buildings. But we do have 2 state-owned buildings, and we have requested legislative budget requests for capital improvements on those buildings, because one of those buildings houses many of our essential services that it's where it's located. So it's located on the 45th Street, and it does hold several essential services to our communities. It is strategically placed in that location. We do have 6 other county-owned buildings that serve the community, but this one in particular is state-owned. And so it was built in 2009, so it's about 14 years old, and I'm sorry, let me take that back. The 45th Street building was built in 2002. The 800 Clematis building that also requires capital improvement funding was built in 2009. So I am speaking about the 2002 built building on the 45th Street. It has a state-owned lab, as well as we provide STD services, family planning, HIV. We also have healthcare district in that same building as well. So many very important, it's one of our busiest clinics. And so the reason I'm speaking about it is because we have submitted a legislative budget request for capital improvements on that building, because since it was built in 2002, there have not been any funds allocated for major improvements. So the improvement that is at hand right now is a roof replacement, and I've held meetings with my team to come up with something called a COOP plan in the event that Palm Beach County does experience a major hurricane. We are at risk of that roof collapsing, and so. That is something that we have to prepare for. What happens if the roof collapses, and where do our services go? Where does our lab go? So that is one of my points that I wanted to just be thankful for, because I know the county supported us in putting forth that legislative budget request. So I thank you.
Any questions, members? Thank you. Appreciate that. And
Sure.
I assume Representative Caruso, you have a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Doctor, I appreciate you bringing that forward. I drive by that 45th Street building every day, and I know, and my wife, I think she heard the last meeting of the healthcare district was there, I believe. And not only is the roof really bad, members, and leaks very, very badly, it's now creating a mold issue too. So if we could all get behind that appropriation, that allocation of funds from the state, it would be a great asset to our county. Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you. And I want to remind anyone in the audience asking for budget requests, I know the House does have a deadline, I believe, of November 14th for filing budget requests. The Senate does not have a similar deadline, but you must have them into the House by December, into whoever the member is that's going to do it, in order to file it by November 14th. So, thank you.
Thank
I
you
have a
so
question, Madam Chair.
Further questions or comments? Representative Skidmore.
Thank you. Hi, Dr. Gunta. What is the dollar amount for the roof replacement? And I know you
kind of ran out of time there. Could you talk about the second building? Is there a capital improvement on the
absolutely.
2009 building as well? Just briefly.
Thank you so much for that question. So the estimated number that I received from my CFO was $3.2 million for just the roof at 45th Street. And then the second building, which houses myself, so I put myself last, you know, if I'm out of an office, that's okay, but we can't be out of a building where we provide services. So the second building also houses all of our administrative staff, which is on 800 Clematis, and that one is the one that was built in 2009. And that one requires sealant and painting, without which it seems that there's going to be catastrophic damage to the building if those are not improved, if those are not, renovated. And the dollar amount for those renovations comes out to $1.8 million.
Follow up, Madam Chair?
Follow up.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gupta. I appreciate that. If it's a state-owned building, why is the county administrator having to go after the money? Why isn't the Florida Department of Health managing its own building?
That is a great question. Thank you for that question. And I do want to remind everybody that I've been in this role for 6 months only. And so that was one of my first questions to my, the members in Tallahassee at Department of Health. And the reasoning that I can, share with you all today is because even though those two buildings are state-owned buildings by Department of Health, we do serve the members out of those buildings. We serve the residents of Palm Beach County, so which is why we are asking the county for that help. But with that being said, I mean, myself coming into this role, I realized, if you build something and you own something, then you have to, from day one, plan for these type of capital improvements. And, so in my budget moving forward, I am looking to set aside money for these types of projects, so which has not been done previously. So, I mean, that will take some time to build up that amount of cash and that amount of money to allow for further capital improvements in those two buildings. But for now, we are reaching out to you all for that help. But in the future, I hope to be self-sufficient as much as I can.
Comment, Madam Chair?
A comment?
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your foresight to think that as a quote-unquote tenant, you should have to manage the building that is owned by somebody else. And I do think that the state has a responsibility and an obligation to maintain its own buildings. And as a delegation in Palm Beach County, where members and citizens of Palm Beach County are being served in moldy buildings, we have an obligation to take this information to the state and the Surgeon General and demand that they manage their own buildings. We don't require tenants to maintain the houses that they rent, nor should the people who are serving the people of Palm Beach County have to maintain a building that is not owned by them.
Thank you.
Thank
No
you very
further
much.
questions. Thank you. We have not, I was going to dismiss the introduction of our individual members, but since we do have a large audience of so many people who are not here this morning, I'm going to go ahead and ask everybody to go around and briefly introduce themselves so that our audience does know who is here. And Senator Berman, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Senator Lori Berman. I represent District 26, which is Boca Raton, Delray, Boynton Beach. Then it comes west, Wellington, and goes over to the Glades, and I have South Bay and Belle Glade. I am very happy to have with me my staff here today. I have Sophia Cabage, Courtney Jones, excuse me, she only started last week, and Brenda Bryant. So happy to have everybody with me, happy to be here and see such a good turnout today.
Hello, I am Senator Tina Polsky. I represent District 30. I have Palm Beach and Broward counties. In Palm Beach, I have Boca Raton. I am very happy to have Shana Cohen and Cariana Ingram here with me today, my legislative aides who go to Tallahassee, and Robert Mariaja is our district aide who mans it while we're gone.
Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Skidmore, State Representative for District 92, which is unincorporated parts of Palm Beach County in Boca Raton, Delray Beach, and Boynton Beach. With me today is Dr. Gwen Gonzalez, my legislative aide, and at home, because she ate too much candy, is Amy Chamberlain.
I'm Catherine Waldron. I'm representative for District 93, which is Wellington, parts of Green Acres, and Western Lake Worth. And I'm happy to show off my district aide, Roselle Gibbs, who is here. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gervonta Edmonds, and I'm proud to serve as the state representative for District 88. District 88 covers Riviera Beach, West Palm Beach, Mangonia Park, Lake Park, and Royal Palm Beach. Here also is my district assistant, Latanya Cruz, if you could just wave. And thank you for having me.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Bobby Powell, Jr., State Senator representing Senate District 24 here in Palm Beach County, starting at PGA Boulevard and Palm Beach Gardens, going south all the way down to Hyperlux. So I represent most of the coastal areas in that area, all of the coastal areas in that area. And I have represented and served Palm Beach County for well over a decade. Here with me today, my staff. Chief of Staff, Ms. Diane Andre Esquire. Please stand and be recognized. And my other legislative aide, who is our Communications Director, Mr. Malcolm Summons. Team GTJD, get the job done. I'm excited to have them here. Remember this, for Senate District 24, a life of service is indeed a life that counts. I'm glad to see some of my good friends in the audience. Good to see you, Dr. Drayton and Mr. Whiteley, Reverend Whiteley, and many of you. And we are excited to have a great delegation hearing this afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, and I'm State Senator Gail Harrell. I represent District 31, which is the northern part of Palm Beach County, down to Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, PGA Boulevard, out to Military Trail, then south to North Lake, then west again, out to the Turnpike, and then south again to Southern Boulevard, all the way out to the lake, including Pahokee and the beautiful area on the lake, as well as Martin County and the southern part of St. Lucie County. And it's a delight to serve as your chair. And I wanted to introduce my aide on policy issues is Karen Sweeney over here, and Carrie Lira on budget requests and fiscal issues right there next to her. And Vice Chair?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Joe Casello, State Representative for District 90. Aliens. District 90, the great cities of Boynton Beach and Delray Beach. Today with me, I have my legislative aide, Troy Grass, and my district aide, Brian Bees. Good to be here.
Thank you. Representative Caruso?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm State Representative Mike Caruso from representing House District 87. House District 87 runs from Manalapan, Hypoluxo, along the east coast, the ocean front, all the way to Jupiter. And then as you move north, it moves out to the Turnpike. I am excited to see so many people come out here today. I've got my legislative aide, Walter Boykus, here, and my district aide, Eva Sazanova. If you're in the room, stand up. Otherwise, there we go. Eva's here. And Walter's out trying to get a project done for me. So that's good. You know, I try to be as available as I can. I see so many friends in the audience here, but if you don't know me, if you'd like to contact me, my cell phone number is 561-702-9319. Call anytime. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Peggy Gossett-Seidman, State Representative for Boca Raton, Highland Beach, and Southwest Palm Beach County. Also in Boca Raton, home of the Noble FAU. I see Dr. Volnick is here today. Wanted to thank my aide, Ben Palmer, the new aide who is home also having eaten way too much candy. My district aide who is holding down the fort, and therefore my volunteer son, Austin Seidman, is here filling in as usual in these kinds of days. And I'm very happy to see friends of mine and our wonderful constitutional and elected officers here in the community, and thank everyone for attending.
Good afternoon. I'm Representative Rick Roth, otherwise known as R5. I'm District 94, the largest district in Palm Beach County. starts at the Martin County line all the way to Southern Boulevard, west of the Turnpike, goes all the way out to Arden, and then continues out into the Glades, where my hometown of Belglade is. I have in the room, I hope, Will Ponsold is still here. If you're here, stand up. Will, he's my district aide. I also have Terry Mitzi, who is a district aide out in the Glades. Glad to see y'all here today. We're going to have fun.
Good afternoon. My name's John Snyder. It's an honor to serve District 86, which consists of Martin County and the northern portion of Palm Beach, mainly Jupiter, Tequesta, and Jupiter Inlet Colony. My legislative aide, Sarah Craven, is here, and we also have a satellite office in Jupiter Town Hall, so we'd love to have you come by and meet with us personally. Look forward to hearing from you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll move on to our business. We do have, I understand that our Supervisor of Elections has arrived. Wendy Sotaro Link is here. There you are. Come forward. And I'd like to remind everybody, we are trying to keep on a time schedule, and we've got a little clock sitting here. We don't want to rush our constitutional officers. We do want to respect you very much so for your positions and what you do for us, but if you could keep within the time frame, it would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for allowing us to be here and to speak. I appreciate it. We at the Elections Office, and representing not just our office, but of course we have 67 supervisors of elections who work very closely together and are trying to make life simple as we're heading into the 2024 election. We're focused, of course, on obviously the most important thing, security, transparency, and making sure that we have a flawless election here in Florida so that we can keep up the good reputation that we've earned. In Palm Beach County, we've tried to do our part with that. We are also an award-winning office past year from the EAC, the Election Assistance Commission, which is part of the U.S. Congress. We won 3 awards, which is actually the most awards of any county in the whole country. So we've done, we're working very hard to do things. As we look into this next legislative session, we are really focused on making sure that we can implement the laws that that the state is still trying to catch up on. And part of that is because parts of SB 90, 524, 7050, which have been over the last 3 years, parts of those are still tied up in litigation. And for various reasons, the state hasn't been able to do its rulemaking for some of those. So some of the supervisors, we're still waiting to have full rule implementation for us to completely follow those statutes that you have put in place. And so we're asking as we go into 2024 that you consider that as you consider what new changes that you might make, because by the time your session would end and we would need to implement it, of course, we're going to be very tight time frames. So we just ask that, if we want to make ourselves available as you're thinking about changes that you would like to see from a policy perspective. If I would like to make myself as available to you as possible to answer any questions that you might have. But our biggest focus coming in is the protection of our poll workers and our staff. We would like to make sure that the poll workers, that there was something in this House bill, but not in the Senate bill last year, that protected them from threats and intimidation and harassment. It is getting harder and harder to get workers, both in our office as well as poll workers, and having that is going to go a long way. We're not asking for special treatment. We're saying they can't, if somebody harasses them, threatens them, intimidates them, or, of course, assaults them, that would be against the law, and that would help a lot. We also are looking if there's exemptions from their public records. We get public records requests for every piece of information, and then what happens is certain groups will use that information to target the poll workers and say, I know you're going to be working at X location, and I know where you live, and they send it to their home address, and they threaten them. We're not going to stand for the election to be stolen, or we're not going to stand for this. Okay, obviously, nobody wants anything to go wrong, but that's intimidating to people. So we just ask for you to please consider the protection of those workers, and I certainly don't want to go over my time, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. And is there someone filing those bills? Public records has to be a standalone bill.
Yes, I know it's been part of the of our priorities list from this, and they're working with David Ramba, who I believe is getting folks to do that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, members? You're recognized, Representative Waldron.
Thanks. Just real quick, how is the push for vote by mail going? If you can give us an update on that, the numbers.
In our county, we currently have about 122,000 people who have requested vote by mail ballots. As you know, they all expired at the end of 2022. We had about close to 500,000 at that time. So we don't know, we don't anticipate that we'll have that many necessarily, because some people, because COVID has passed, don't feel the need to vote by mail. But our big concern is we're trying to make sure that everybody who chooses to vote by mail understands that they have to make that request again.
Thank you.
Representative Costello.
Thank you, Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say, Ms. Links, that since you've taken over that office, I know where you were put in that position, it was pretty contentious at the time, and how you progressed that department to where it is today, to where we're winning awards, even in spite of us up there in Tallahassee keep moving the goalpost on you. So
We're up to
hopefully.
the challenge.
And you have been up to the challenge, and I just want to commend you on that. You've done a great job. I've seen you at many functions, speaking on it, giving that information out to the public, making it a lot easier, and I commend you for that.
Thank you very much.
Senator Powell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Supervisor Link, thank you so much. In the past, you have been able to come to certain events to help get people registered to vote, or either get them registered to vote by mail. We've made it more difficult in Tallahassee to get third-party organizations to register people. Are you still available, in your office still available to come to events to
Yes.
get people registered?
Yeah, we've been out,
and
I
vote by
think,
mail?
but we've had over 1,800 hours this year just getting out to the public, speaking and doing that. We do ask groups that had been served by third-party voter groups that maybe aren't being served by them, just to let us know. And we've made it a priority to get out to any place who's asked us to come to do registration or vote by mail updates. We're there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Gossett-Seibman.
Thank you, Senator. I wanted to express my thanks to Wendy Link and also Ann Gannon. They were of great service to me throughout the summer in filing my motor voter bill, which showed that we had an IT glitch statewide that possibly changed voters' registrations from Republican or Democrat to NPA. I filed this bill, and they were of great asset to me in that regard, and we'll continue to work on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Caruso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Supervisor, you mentioned that to implement the new legislation that's been passed, you're waiting for rules to for them to come up with the.
Right. Yeah, state has to go through rulemaking procedures.
Exactly. What's your deadline what's the drop dead date in order to get this done?
Well, there's not really, I mean, it really depends on what it is, right? So, because certain things we can implement very quickly. Other things, if it involved, for example, changing our envelopes, which we've had to do a number of times, for vote by mail. If it involves that, we need a little bit more lead time because we've got to get the paper, get them printed and all that in time for us to get the, UOCAVA ballots out 45 days before the election. So we're going to be we'll be inserting our UOCAVA ballots by mid-January. Okay. So.
Mid-January.
That's when we start to insert those ballots. So, I mean, again, if it's something that involved envelopes, that would be earlier. Okay. It really would depend on what the change is.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate all your hard work.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Dorothy Jacks, Palm Beach County Property Appraiser.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I just have a few brief comments this afternoon. First, just quickly, I wanted to let you know that when you passed the increase to the widower benefit, exemption benefit, which you increased from $500 to $5,000, we've seen a significant increase in filing for that benefit. So I wanted to make sure you knew that what you're doing is actually having an impact, and taxpayers are taking advantage of these benefits more and more as they see them. And I think also just your work on them brings them plenty of attention. In 2024, the property appraisers have a number of items that we're looking to work on. One is to allow the continuation of a paraplegic civilian is qualified for a full and total exemption. However, should they pass away, currently that exemption does not pass to a surviving spouse, which of course can be very tough on the surviving spouse. So as we have with veterans benefits, we are going to ask if that might be considered a pass-through from the full exemption to the surviving spouse. Of course, it would go away if that surviving spouse marries or passes away themselves, certainly, but it would be nice if, while for the duration of their life, they continue to have the benefit of that exemption. We've also are looking at a couple of changes to the veterans benefits. At the moment, if you are a disabled veteran, you're entitled to a $5,000 exemption. That equals about $100 in tax savings. We'd like to increase that to $10,000, so it would be about $200 in tax savings, so that will come forward. Probably our biggest bill this year is we would like to have the online realty sites include a correct tax estimator. So at the moment when someone buys a home, they often think that the seller's taxes will be their taxes, but because of caps and portability and homestead, that is usually not the case. And the seller is in for a rude awakening when they buy a property and find out the taxes could be much higher. We would like that the realty online Zillow, Realtor.com would include a link to our website or the DOR's website showing them what the taxes will probably be on that home that they're looking to buy. So that'll be coming forward. As always, I'd ask if you keep an eye out for anything that might change the valuation process for timeshare properties. This comes up almost every year, and I've had some great support in the past from you in pushing it back down. Timeshares already have a carve-out in the way they're valued, and there's often talk about a further carve-out for that. We have a couple of communities, small communities in this county that have timeshares. If their valuation process was changed significantly, it might really impact those small communities. So I just bring that up. As always, I'm available to assist you with data or statistics from our tax roll about any of our issues. If you're ever curious, I know sometimes our exemptions and process issues are complicated. Happy to talk to you. Feel free to give me a call anytime. And I hope I'll see you in January when I come to Tallahassee. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Questions, comments? I do have one quick question. On the website, changing to the estimated future tax value, would you, I would assume you might have two levels. One, whether it is homesteaded or non-homesteaded.
Absolutely. We would provide that as an option within the estimator.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Wanted to be sure that would be included.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Joseph Bruzzo, former senator, who is the clerk of the court and comptroller for Palm Beach County. Welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and so many friends and former colleagues. It's great to be amongst you. And of course, thank you for what you do headed up to Tallahassee, especially to the families. I know your families miss you when you're gone. I will be brief considering the time clock. I cannot thank you all enough. Every single year you have been, the entire delegation, such a big champion for clerk funding. To put it in context, I know there is I think a chart in front of you. Our office is operating 24% lower than we were in 2009. And to add to that context, how that happened, in my estimation, I remember back on the floor in 2008, 2009 with Representative Skidmore and Chair Harrell, your last year in the House, you had about an $87 billion budget. We went from an $87 billion budget to $69 billion budget in a one-year drop because of the Great Recession. And to balance the budget, Democrats, Republicans working together, we had to raise court fees, and you took from the clerks. Or not you, but the legislature had to take from the clerks to keep more of that money in general revenue. We just never got that back. Well, as Florida's growing, it's common sense. We're adding more judges. We need clerks to clerk those courtrooms, amongst the other 1,000 different statutory duties that we have. The other important issue for our office, and I cannot thank Senator Polsky, Representative Gossett-Seidman enough, the Epstein grand jury bill to release the records. As we like to say, Madam Chair, this bill is specifically tailored to the Jeffrey Epstein case. It is not, this is not Pandora's box where if you all, God willing, pass this, it will open up a plethora of other issues within the courts. So I please urge you to pass that bill. As you head into special session on Israel, I did want to bring to your attention a few things that we're doing at the clerk's office. Because of the legislature, we, as I operate as the comptroller, are allowed to buy Israeli bonds. The county commission sets how much of the Israeli bonds we can buy. In 2001, I went in front of them to propose the doubling of the investment in Israeli bonds, which they granted, and thank God for that. I was able to buy $40 million of Israeli bonds back in 2001. With the war that has recently come upon, a new issuance came. We were the first in the nation to buy 25 million edition of Israeli bonds, followed by CFO Petronas, who I'm in contact with constantly. Just yesterday, we made the single largest purchase in Israeli bond history from any government entity in the United States. 135 million in Israeli bonds purchased here in Palm Beach County. So we have an entire investment of $200 million in Israeli bonds, which over a 2-year period will return $21 million to Palm Beach County taxpayers. So we are doing everything we can, and those bonds are extremely safe and one of the best investments that we can make as being the fiduciary responsible person or person in charge of our finances in Palm Beach County. So,
Any questions, members? Representative Caruso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, we all know that this act of war by Hamas against Israel was yet another display of anti-Semitism, which is just rising throughout our county, our state, and the country. So I wanted to thank you for your investment and support of Israel.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Do you want to comment?
Madam Chair, the clerks will be upset with me. Senator Hudson is sponsoring the clerk funding bill this year.
Okay.
And Representative Botano. We do not have a House bill number yet, but it doesn't raise fees whatsoever.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments, questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next we'll hear from another former state senator, Dave Ehrenberg, state attorney for the 15th Circuit. Is he here? Well, we'll pick him up when he comes. All righty, another former colleague. Oh, here he is. Talk about timing. Hey, Dave.
Fresh off the TV set.
Yes.
Gracing us with his presence.
Well, hello there. Good afternoon. Thank you. I was out in the hall, standing room only. So, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, state attorney. I appreciate your time. Good to see members of the delegation. All right. This is, although I'm not running again, and neither is my friend Carrie Howard, so there'll be major changes, but we're not leaving yet. So we got another one of these next year. So this is not my farewell, neither for Carrie. All right. We have a few bills I want to ask you for your support. There are 6 measures. I believe, Senator Berman, you are helping us with one of them.
Domestic violence.
The domestic violence, the definition of domestic violence? Great. So I'll skip over that one, but there are 5 bills, and I would love for you to consider sponsoring it. Number 1, there's a bill to amend the written threats to kill statute. So right now, if you want to be charged with a written threat to kill, you've got to post a writing or other record that may be viewed by another person that makes a type of threat to kill. But what happens is that we have encountered very concerning situations where people will identify a specific target and a date for a mass shooting, and they'll purchase weapons, body armor, they'll do the GoPro stuff, and they pretty much
practice carrying it out, but because they don't have a written threat to kill, it's verbal, it's online, in spoken word, we can't charge under the statute. And because they work alone, they don't have a co-conspirator, we can't charge them with conspiracy. So we'd like to broaden the written threat to kill statute to better protect our county and our schools, because we see these threats and we are frustrated that we cannot stop these individuals from carrying out these acts in advance rather than being forced to wait and react once the act has begun. So that's number one. Number two is intercepting and oral communications. You know, under the law, it's unlawful to record another party without that person's knowledge and consent. In 2015, the statute was amended to allow child victims to lawfully intercept and record oral communications when the child reasonably believes the other party to the communication intends to commit or has committed an unlawful sexual or physical act of violence against the child. In 2021, the act was amended further to allow a person protected under an active injunction to intercept or record communications received in violation of the injunction. Well, victims of domestic and dating violence should be given special consideration as well under the law. These acts take place usually within someone's home, and there are not witnesses, and so without witnesses or other evidence to corroborate the victim's allegations, you need something like this, a recorded phone call. So we'd like to further amend the statute to allow victims of domestic and dating violence the lawful ability to record oral communications that may contain threatening statements preceding an act of violence. So we do it in other areas. We'd like to extend it to dating and dating violence. So then there's the third one, which I mentioned, which is about the definition of domestic battery. Thank you, Senator Berman, for sponsoring that. The fourth bill would be one about AI and child sex abuse. You know, the rise of these incredibly realistic AI images has created a situation where individuals can possess child porn, but because it's AI, it's not an actual child, even though the likeness, you can't even distinguish it, they get away with it. And so we'd like to change Florida law to mirror federal law, because Florida law does not do what federal law does, to include language that would include AI depictions of sexual abuse. And then the next one is cyber harassment, sexual cyber harassment. Now, you know revenge porn, the law that you guys passed, which requires under the law that the image contains the personal identification information of the depicted person without that person's consent. Well, the problem here is that personal identification information is too narrow. It leads to extremely harmful instances of revenge porn that don't fall under the statute. So, for example, under the current requirement that each sexually explicit image contain or convey personal identification information, an email could be sent with several attachments of sexually explicit photos of a victim, but unless the photos contain the victim's face or other unique physical representation, the conduct would not fall under the statute. Even if the body of the text next to the photo contains the victim's phone number, date of birth, social security number, name, it still wouldn't fall under the statute. So we think the statute should be revised to close that ridiculous loophole. And then sixth and finally, okay, if I can find, thank you. The last one is this. When we deal with competency matters, where someone is deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial, we have a certain limit of time to where that person gets treated and has to be found competent to stand trial. If we don't find that person, if that person doesn't get competent within a certain number of years, the case is dropped. We can't prosecute that person anymore. But here's the problem. There are situations where the defendant absconds, and guess what? The clock starts rolling. That doesn't seem fair. You should pause the clock when the victim takes off. Excuse me, I say the victim, excuse me, the defendant, excuse me. The defendant takes off, right? It's not fair that they get the benefit of fleeing. Also, if there's no resources available, like for example, if the training, the care is unavailable because of a delay in the system, the clock doesn't pause as well. What if the defendant fails to regularly attend their therapy sessions? The clock doesn't stop as well. So we think that there should be a pause of what's called a tolling of the statute when there are certain circumstances where the defendant either absconds or doesn't go to the classes, or the restoration training was unavailable. The clock shouldn't keep running, and then we can't prosecute the person. So those are the 6 bills. I strongly encourage you all to please sign on and sponsor, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. I do have one question. Are those bills specifically endorsed by the State Attorneys Association? So everybody's out asking for sponsors, or is this just coming out of your office? I'm sure we have lots of people here who I know I'm interested in several of them.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. All the bills I mentioned have been endorsed by the Florida Prosecuting Attorneys Association, but there are no sponsors other than Senator Berman on the one. Oh, Senator Berman?
Thank you. There's, Senator Martin is sponsoring the oral intercept bill for domestic violence.
Okay, thank you for
Already.
that clarification. So the other 4 have no Senate sponsors. We also are looking for House sponsors, which is, really a valuable thing considering you guys are limited to 6 bills.
7.
Oh, it's 7 now? When did that change?
A couple years ago.
Yeah, I'm usually about 2 years behind with things, so thank you. I haven't been in the state Senate since 2010, so that's like 13 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the gray hair.
So we'll have further conversations. I know some of us might have further conversations.
Yeah, we'll sponsor.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Any further questions, comments? Senator Polsky.
Thank you. So yesterday at the Broward delegation meeting, State Attorney Pryor talked about a bill that would, I'm not going to get this right, but it has to do with Glock switches and how it's not recognized in the criminal code the way that it should be, and to make it more of an offense than it is if you're caught with that. And so he's going to send me that information, and I would like to sponsor that. So if you have more information on that, let's talk after.
Great. State Attorney Pryor, Broward County, is pushing this bill, and thank you for your help, where in our state, these Glock switches, which increases the lethality of these guns, is not in the criminal code. So it needs to be, if someone is going to improperly increase the lethality of a gun against the current laws of the state, there should be an increased criminal violation as well. So yes, thank you for that.
Yeah. Senator Representative Costello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. State Attorney, I'd really be interested in taking on in the House end of it the amendment threatening to kill, where verbal doesn't count, where they have to actually write it. So we'll talk offline on that one.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
Yeah, we will talk offline as well. Further comments, questions? Anybody volunteering? Sponsors? Okay. Thank you
Great.
very much. We will work very hard to get you some sponsors.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. All righty, moving on. We will now hear from Ann Gannon, Palm Beach County Tax Collector. Another former representative.
Thank
Way
you,
back
Madam
when.
Chair. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And there's just a couple bills I want to talk about. But first, I want to tell you today's November the 1st, the tax roll open. So we have an office very close here. If you want to pay, we'll take you. Just go on in. Or you can do it on your phone. You could pay on your phone. We'll take it too. So we make it easy for you. There are a couple issues. One is an efficiency and operations package. Most of it really came out of the challenges that we have as tax collectors when a person's property is destroyed. And it's House Bill 113 and Senate Bill 216. And we really need to get those changes done this year so that when we do have another crisis, it gives us the ability to actually help your constituent and my constituent. So I'd be glad to give you more details, but I know I'm on a timeline. So the other issue is a tax collector efficiency and DHS and MV operations package. Most of these deal with helping families expedite title transfers, military families money, and providing options for trailer owners, and also license plate options for 100% disabled veterans. Those are really operational issues that we are working with our former colleague, Dave Kerner, and a former county commissioner. We worked with them last year on this bill, and it just didn't make it over the line, but we need to push it. It's the House bill is 247, and Representative Maney is the House sponsor. I do not have the Senate sponsor. The other bill that's critically important to tax collectors, and it affects all constitutional officers. It would not affect the sheriff, because 2 years ago, you voted to give the sheriff an increase in his base salary, which left out all the other constitutional officers. And we're not coming begging because we think we need more money, but and this will affect our employees and our offices too. But this base salary has not been adjusted since 1985. And it needs to come up to what's happening in the marketplace. But the other thing this bill has included in it, of course, is a incentive for adoption for our tax collector employees. And this was in the bill last year. It did not pass the House last year or the Senate, and the governor is providing money in his budget for the incentives for adoption. And we've also included a one-time bonus to budget and pay for recruitment bonuses for our employees that we hire. I'm sure that all of you have heard the complaints about no one in my office answers the phone, particularly during the pandemic. The problems that we have when we have a challenge such as that is that people quit, we can't hire people. And until 2 months ago or 3 months ago, we were not fully staffed in our call center. Now our average wait time for a client is down to 3 minutes. So as you know, our salaries have a salary formula that are actually in the statute. And so what we're asking is for an increase only in the base salary, which would actually mirror what the sheriff's offices received 2 years ago. This is so far behind in terms of the
wrap it up?
market.
We're
Yes, I
really
will.
running behind.
But I like talking about money, especially if I can get my other tax collectors a raise. But we are looking for sponsors for this bill, for the House and the Senate at this time, or people to co-sponsor the bill. If anyone's interested, I can get the number of the bill to you as soon as it's filed. So please feel free to give my office a call. And thank you all for what you do. When I go to Tallahassee, I just pray for you because it's so difficult up there right now. It used to be lots of fun, as Senator Harold will tell you, but it's tough. It's tough. Anyhow, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from our last constitutional officer, and that is Carrie Howat, our Palm Beach County Public Defender. And we'll be moving into our other presenters, and I'm kind of giving you a little heads up. We will have to limit the time for our public presenters to 2 minutes because we are really running behind. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Carrie Howat. I'm the public defender for Palm Beach County since 2001. And I thank you for your service. Wow. I really do.
21, 2 years.
I agree with what has been said about your life of service, and I salute you for it. As usual, I'm here playing defense. It is what I do, and I'm really here to speak about the potential for bills being introduced on circuit consolidation. So I am sure most of you are aware of what's going on. Speaker Renner referred this matter to the Supreme Court. There's a committee chaired by our own Judge Gerber in the 4th DCA that is looking at the issue of consolidating circuits. Irrespective of what that committee does, it will make a report to the Florida Supreme Court. The Florida Supreme Court will issue something. But irrespective of what the court does, we anticipate the potential for bills being filed to consolidate circuits. For Palm Beach County, a large circuit already, it would mean consolidating with either the 19th Circuit, the 4 counties to the north of us, and or Broward County, the circuit to the south of us. Our sheriff, state attorneys, myself, our associations have all come out against these proposals. There doesn't seem to be any evidence to show a need for circuit consolidation, a benefit for anybody, other than there have been a couple of large state agencies that have very little impact or involvement in the day-to-day business of our justice system have come out saying it would make their jobs a little easier. But we believe it will cost more, both in dollars and in human suffering. We have worked hard in our circuit, as I know they have in the 19th Circuit and in the 17th Circuit, to have technology that integrates our state attorney, sheriff, clerk, and public defender, which has come a long way in improving our efficiency and our effectiveness. We reduce duplication, we reduce paper, we speed up the process. Circuit consolidation would require a complete redo, a major overhaul in all our technology and our communication. It took years to get to where we are, and we believe it will take decades to get to where we would need to be if circuits are consolidated. Circuit relationships are critical to efficient and effective justice systems. Making circuits even larger will undermine these relationships. Most importantly, it will undermine the confidence and trust in the system of our residents. Their voice at the poll will mean that much less when they are voting for circuit positions. So I really bring this to your attention for it to be on your radar should there be bills introduced. This is not good for our community, it is not good for our circuit, and it is not good for our justice system. So I will be speaking with you all during the session as criminal justice issues come up. I'm always open to talk with you about them.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Representative Costello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick statement. Harry, I will be filing a bill to make your pending retirement null and void. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Thank you.
Thanks for the heads up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice.
Appreciate it. That is the conclusion of our constitutional officers, and I'm now moving into hearing from our public and various institutions that we have in our wonderful county. But I am again going to remind you we're limiting now to 2 minutes. As I said, we are all open, our doors are open, so if you have further things to say, please see us individually. And we will go ahead and start with Stacy Volnick, President of Florida Atlantic University.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the delegation. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity today. I'm Stacy Volnick, President of Florida Atlantic. I have more than 30 years of experience in higher education, serving at Florida Atlantic since 1991. I've served in numerous administrative roles, including the Chief Operating Officer. I'm also a triple, very proud alumna, having earned both my undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral degrees at Florida Atlantic. Like nearly 1/3 of our student population, I am a proud first-generation graduate. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to share with you that Florida Atlantic is continuing its rise in academic reputation. We have been ranked number 112 on the U.S. News and World Report list of top public schools for 2024, which marked the largest advancement of all Florida public universities for the second year in a row. Florida Atlantic also ranked in the U.S. News list for social mobility, now ranked number 26 in the nation among both public and private universities. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal's list of best colleges in America, which emphasizes timely degree completion and post-graduation salaries, Florida Atlantic ranked number 76 among the nation's top public universities. And for 12 years in a row, I'm very proud of this, Florida Atlantic has been recognized as a military-friendly school for providing exceptional resources, services, and programs to students who are military members, veterans, and dependents. In the past year, I'm sure you heard a little bit about our basketball team. We made incredible strides in athletic excellence, including our men's basketball team competing in the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. In October, the team ranked number 10 in the Association Press Top 25 preseason poll, marking a new milestone for the program and signaling a highly anticipated season, which, by the way, for the first time in our history, we are completely sold out. What happened on the court was amazing, but what I want to share is that beyond the court and what it did for our community, the impact off the court was extraordinary. $1.9 billion in earned media compared to a typical March of $200 million. But
And you are at your 2 minutes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
You have an ask, a quick ask.
Well, I want to thank you for everything you've done. As you know, we've received $40 million in capital funding for our College of Dentistry, and I'd like to thank the delegation for your support and hope that we can continue to count on you as we move forward. So thank you so much.
Go what?
Owls.
Thank you.
Representative Edmonds.
Madam President, I just want to thank you for your hard work and diligence being the president of FAU. As a graduate of FAU, we both know this is one of the best universities in the country,
Yes, it
and
is.
we will do whatever we can to promote that. So
Thank you. I
for
really
your hard work.
appreciate that. Thank you.
And I'd like to say we'll be working very hard on that College of Dentistry again.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yes. Anything else? Thank you. And I hate to cut everybody off, but I want to hear from everybody, okay? Next, we'll hear from Eva Parker, President of Palm Beach State.
It'd be Abby Ross, President Parker.
Oh, okay, come on down.
Thank you for allowing me to fill in on behalf of President Parker, and I'm so sorry that she wasn't able to make it today. But I am Abby Ross, and I'm here with Palm Beach State College, and thank you, Chair Harrell, Vice Chair Casello, and members of the delegation for having me. I just wanted to briefly touch on our legislative priorities for the year. I know that President Parker and I have made our rounds and met with most of you. Still trying to track down a couple of you. But we'll get to you. So I'll just hit on them real briefly. First and foremost, number 3 on the state's PICO list is our library. Our library is, I think, 57 years old. It has not had any major remodeling or renovations, and it is in desperate need. So we are requesting $10.9 million. We're hoping that being on the PICO list will be very helpful. Thank you to Senator Powell and Representative Silvers for sponsoring that for us. Second is the Emergency Response Training Center. We are looking kind of for what we call the second bucket or second tranche, if you will, and we are so grateful, Senator Berman and Rep. Caruso, for getting us $3 million this past session, and we are going to go out for hopefully another 4 to get into that phase 2.
Let's get it done.
So we know that's a lot, but we're very proud of the product, so thank you. And then third and finally, we're looking to create a transportation technology expansion project. And we have Senator Polsky and Representative Waldron support for that, so thank you. And we are working on the forms. They're getting looked at by all the final sets of eyes, so know that those are coming. And that will help create an electric vehicle repair program to build on our automotive program. So we feel that these are high-wage, high-demand jobs meeting the community needs. So we're looking forward to building on that certificate program. You'll hear more from us, and some of you have already heard from us about the state group health insurance. The DMS, Department of Management Services, is doing a study. It should come out sometime this month, we think, so we're only a few weeks out, telling what the Florida college system buy-in would be. This helps the college system recruit and retain good employees. We're often competing with universities throughout the state for the same employees because our health insurance is not as competitive. So we hope that you'll hear more from us on that as well as we enter session. And then last and not least, I have reached out to many of you. We have student government students arriving in Tallahassee next week. I will be there with them, so we hope to see some of you. I know the senators are going to be on the floor on Wednesday morning when we're looking to be there, but we'll hopefully say hello and maybe get a shout out from the gallery. So, and that is it. Thank you all so much.
On time. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Senator, wait a minute, Abby, don't go. We got a question. Senator Berman.
I just wanted to say, nice job. You obviously have had good training.
I have. That is very true. Thank you, Senator Berman.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Tom Lanahan, Executive Director, Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tom Lanahan, Executive Director, Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council. Good afternoon. We represent the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties. We do downtown revitalization, transportation policy, intergovernmental relations and coordination, economic development, brownfields, and emergency management. In your packets, you have 4 resolutions that were adopted either by our council or our council jointly with the South Florida Regional Planning Council. The first regards seeking flexibility in the percentage of SHIP funds that can be used for rental units, an especially important issue for affordable housing in our more urbanized areas. Another resolution suggesting a process for statewide coordinated multi-year water infrastructure investment planning. We think it's time that we treat our water resources as seriously as we treat our transportation resources and do a proper job of planning how we invest in those. A resolution supporting restoring the physical connections between the north end of the South Florida Water Management District and the south end of the St. Johns River Water Management District. This will help us keep some water that is currently flowing to the Indian River Lagoon that doesn't need to go there. It actually needs to go north. And then funding for replacement of the St. Lucie River Railroad Bridge. So there's another resolution in there for you supporting those efforts. I'd just like to say we're here as a resource for you. Feel free to call us with questions, and we'll try and find the answers for you. If we don't have them, we'll hopefully point you in the right direction and help you out with that. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have. And if I haven't been to see you yet, a couple of you nice folks are new-ish in office. I didn't get out a lot last year for that, but I will be seeking to come and meet with you face-to-face. So.
Thank you.
One-to-one, whatever.
Very much, right on time. And I will say that on the resolution dealing with the 2 water districts, does that take legislation to do?
I'm not sure. I actually don't know the answer to that question. I think it is primarily an issue of the 2 districts working together, but it may run into, it has to do with their boundaries were set, and there's a line on a piece of paper that doesn't actually relate to how the water used to flow. So it may take a little something, but I'm not aware that it does.
Okay, maybe we can have further conversations on that.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Senator Powell?
No.
No, I got a thumbs up.
That's a good job.
Thank
Thumbs
you.
up. Good
Thank you
job.
very much.
On time. Great. Next, we will hear from Ann Salamone.
Good afternoon. So I'm Ann Salamone, businesswoman, scientist, and mother of an incarcerated son. Before 2020, our family believed in prison and harsh treatment. Then my son was incarcerated and we became non-naive. Florida over-relies on imprisonment for punishment. 41% of Floridians have been incarcerated or have loved ones who've been incarcerated. That's 9 million of us. What has this accomplished? Extreme poverty, homelessness, generational trauma, severed families. 2/3 of our children are on Medicaid. 1/3 of our veterans have been incarcerated. Over-reliance on incarceration is a root cause of the much-needed children and family services that you're going to hear about today. Thousands of offenses are now punished by incarceration in Florida. This past session alone, 14 bills created new reasons for people to go to prison or to lengthen their sentences. Our legislative and judicial systems are at fault for succumbing to skewed, not evidence-based data, and on an occasion an emotional need to appear tough rather than effective at public safety or in decreasing trauma and harm to society. To exemplify, if we now stop to help a child who is crying or hurt, anyone can interpret that kindness as an attempted sexual act. We go to prison, we're on the registry, and we're treated cruelly for the rest of our lives. When your children or dogs make terrible choices, do you put them in a cage with cruelty? What happens when we treat our employees and friends with harshness? What does cruelty solve? So the ask, please do not sponsor or support bills that put more people in prison or lengthen their sentences. This act will take your recognition of the heinous outcomes from our over-reliance on incarceration and your well-appreciated strength to mitigate these damages. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Eve Samples, Friends of the Everglades.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Senators, Representatives. Thank you for taking the time to hear from constituents today. I'm Eve Samples, Executive Director of Friends of the Everglades. We were founded in 1969 by Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Like you, we care deeply about the future of South Florida, and so do our more than 25,000 supporters. The water in our South Florida communities is our lifeblood. The Lake Worth Lagoon, the Indian River Lagoon, Lake Okeechobee, and the vital wetlands of the Everglades. These waters connect us and are vital to our well-being. When the water suffers, our health and economy suffers. When the water's healthy, we thrive. Recognizing that, I'm going to quickly highlight 4 of Friends of the Everglades legislative priorities, and I'll leave the rest of them with your staff as a handout. Number 1, we're asking that you oppose any legislation that may be proposed that weakens local wetlands protections. Following a May ruling from the United States Supreme Court in the Sackett case, state government and local government are really on the front lines of wetlands protections. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court ruling removes federal Clean Water Act protections from about half of the wetlands in Florida. Of course, in Florida, wetlands are absolutely vital to our health and our economy, and we ask that you do everything in your power to protect state regulations. Florida has a strong wetlands permitting program. Let's keep it that way, and don't undermine any efforts local governments may make to improve or protect their existing wetlands regulations. Number 2, we're asking that you block any attempt to weaken local fertilizer ordinances. Following the toxic algae crises we've seen in our waterways in recent years, many local governments have adopted stronger fertilizer ordinances with blackout dates during rainy seasons. These are popular among residents and voters, and we ask that you resist any proposal that may weaken those at the state level. Number 3, we've been waiting for the full implementation of Governor DeSantis's Blue-Green Algae Task Force recommendations. That task force was created 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago now. It's put out a series of excellent recommendations from some of the brightest minds in the state. Those recommendations need to be implemented, and we ask you to move forward with that. And finally, we ask that you do everything in your power as a state legislature to put an end to sugarcane burning in the EAA and surrounding communities. Almost the entire country of Brazil has phased out sugarcane burning. There's an alternative called green harvesting that is healthier and better for the environment and our economy. Please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Renata Bozzetto, Florida Immigrant Coalition.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the delegation. My name is Renata Bozzetto. I have the honor of serving the 81 organizations that make the Florida Immigrant Coalition. And I also have the pleasure of being a Palm Beach County resident since I moved from Brazil. And my family has spread in every single district except Representative Caruso. We have not had a waterfront beach house yet, but eventually, hopefully, we're gonna get there. And I am one of the 26% residents in our county who were born outside of the United States. And I am here today to urge you to take action to repeal the provisions from SB 1718, the most cruel anti-immigrant law ever passed in a state, an anti-immigrant law that took on the responsibilities of the federal government and is creating a lot of harm for our communities. What we see within the Florida Immigrant Coalition is fear, is distrust, and significant harm to our economy and our everyday life. I see that with the hundreds of calls that we answer in our hotline each month. I see that with our social media posts and people who reach out directly. And I know that you see that too. I know that you see that too, so that the legislature already introduced HB 49 to expand, to relax regulations on child labor, which I could assume It is a reflection of the labor shortage and the impact of harassment on immigrants and those who are making a living in our state. With that, I would love to count on all of you to lead and support our immigrant communities by sponsoring legislation that actually would make it better for all of us. It would make better because, you know, in the Palm Beach County, I worked as a housekeeper. I was a student at FAU. I became a doctor. I became a mother. My 2 children are here today because they are off from school and they are having their in-person civic lesson. And I am urging you to sponsor legislation that support immigrants because that didn't benefit me. It benefited our county, it benefited our people, because today everything that I do is for all of us. And I know that you do too. So I hope that we can count on you to sponsor immigration in a positive way. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Michael Jessup, Alzheimer's Community Care.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair Harrell and fellow members of the delegation. My name is Michael Jessup. I am actually, I guess, the new president and CEO of Alzheimer's Community Care, even though I've been here 9 months so far, and 5 days after starting, I was in Tallahassee, and I'll be back in Tallahassee in 2 weeks. You, as a delegation, and the legislators have always been very good to us. And as an organization, we always appreciate the support that you give us. But I think more importantly, it's the families of the patients that we take care of that really appreciate your support. This year, our asks are centered around 3 specific areas. One, the wandering mitigation and rescue, which is so vital because 70% of Alzheimer's patients wander away. We lost a member of the county back in May who wandered off and was found 2 blocks from her house 5 hours later, had succumbed to heat stroke. But if they had had a ID bracelet or a GPS on them, they would have probably be alive today. Secondly is the critical support. As an organization, we save families and the state money. Full-time nursing care is about $100,000 a year. Part-time is about $75,000. If you utilize our day centers and or our navigators, you're looking at about $20,000. And then finally, we have 12 day centers. 8 of them are in Palm Beach County. 3 of those 8 need serious renovations and repairs. In order to mirror the tremendous care that we provide, the facility should mirror that care too. And those are our 3 areas that we're looking for support this year to continue the outstanding care and actually the premier care and specialized day centers that we provide the state of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you for all you do. We appreciate it. And next we'll hear from Sharon LaRoe, President and CEO of 211, and on deck, and I'm kind of giving you a little heads up, so if you're on deck, please come over here. On deck, we'll hear from Elisa Pugliese LaCroix from Love Sharing Autism.
Hi.
Recognized.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the delegation. I'm Sharon LaRue, the CEO of 211 Palm Beach Treasure Coast. And first, I want to just take a moment to thank you all for your support in securing critical funding to address the growing need for mental health services in our region. And a special thank you to Senator Harrell for your sponsorship and advocacy. With your help, we were able to secure the first half of our funding request during the last legislative session. So again, thank you so much. I am here today to ask for your support for the remaining $1 million needed to construct a new facility to meet the growth in demand for services. 211 is the only free 24/7 helpline and crisis line for this region. We provide suicide prevention, crisis intervention, and connection to community resources for people of all ages, as well as a variety of services. We're all aware that there's been an alarming trend nationwide with the increase in suicide deaths. This helped prompt a national designation of a shorter, easier to remember lifeline number, now 988. Because calls from 988 are routed to our team to answer, we are expecting call volume, we've been told to expect an estimated volume tripling over the next 5 years. Since the launch in July, we've already seen calls on that line increase by 60%, and that is expected to continue to grow, meaning that we will likely have to double our staffing size. Our highly trained staff already handle over 100,000 requests for help annually, with an average 12 suicide-related calls each and every day, calls which, if they were not coming to us, would likely go to law enforcement. And these are 12 people whose lives we've saved every day. With your support of our request for the remaining $1 million from the state, we plan to break ground in January, and I can't wait to invite you all to see that facility. Every hour of every day our phone rings, and thank you for helping us to answer each one of those calls for help.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all you do. Any comments or questions? Thank you. And next we'll hear from Lisa Pugliese-LaCroix, and on deck will be Catherine Cabazon, Florida Dental Hygienists Association.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Pugliese-LaCroix, founder of Love Serving Autism. We teach communication and life skills to children and adults with autism and developmental disabilities. Our big mission is to really help them on and off the courts. We are here today to advocate for our 2024 legislative appropriations bill, Autism Therapeutic Wellness Program. Thank you to Senator Harrell and to Representative Caruso for your sponsorship. Marla Garchik is here today. She's one of our amazing parent advocates, and she has a few words.
Good afternoon. Every 11 minutes, another family hears the words, "Your child has autism." Life, as you've known it, is forever changed. We think our son Jack is 1 in a million, but with autism, he's 1 in 36. As a boy, he is 1 in 27. Right here in Palm Beach County, 1 in 6 children have developmental disabilities. That means thousands of children in Palm Beach County are underserved. Our son is one of the lucky ones, not only because he was diagnosed early on, but also because we were fortunate to meet Coach Lisa with Love Serving Autism. For Jack playing adaptive tennis, it was life-changing. On average, families spend $60,000 to $100,000 per year per child to address special needs of children with autism. LSA Adaptive Tennis Program specializes in therapeutic tennis instruction for individuals with autism spectrum disorder. The program develops cognitive abilities, life skills, sportsmanship, physical and social skills, all while having fun. It's an incredible way to provide therapy that has a positive impact on our children who have been diagnosed with autism. We need affordable opportunities for fitness and social skills, but more importantly, activities that can address speech, physical occupational therapy, and ABA all in one setting. Love Serving Autism provides all of this and more. The results with our kids have been phenomenal. 90% of participants improve expressive language, social skills, and following directions. As the result of this program and the love and dedication that Lisa and her team show to each and every one of our youth participants. Our community, autism community, needs your support. Sorry, thank you. Our families that face challenges have seen the impact Lisa and her incredible program provides. We hope you will consider our funding requests so we can strive to help all of the children in our community who deserve to reach their full potential. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Thank you very much for all you do.
Senator. Chair.
Yes, question.
Thank you.
You're
Not a
recognized.
question, just hoping that I see you up in Tallahassee to work the appropriation. If you can get up there this early session, I think that would be great.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the work you do. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Catherine Cabazon, and then followed by Catherine Uden, Senior Field Representative, Oceana.
Thank you, members, Madam Chair. My name is Catherine Cabazon. I'm a licensed registered dental hygienist in the great state of Florida. I'm a member of the Florida Dental Hygienist Association. I live in Palm Beach County, and I serve patients in Palm Beach County. I ask you to support the efforts to increase access to dental care, licensure mobility, and then loan forgiveness for dental hygienists. Florida has some of the highest rates of emergency department visits due to dental issues that could be prevented. In 2021 ED data, dental visits were 116,980,000 with a cost of $380,558,000. Of those millions, 116 million, Palm Beach County had 4,240 ED visits for preventable dental with a cost of $17,543,000. There are 13 states that now allow a mid-level dental provider called a dental therapist. They must graduate from an accredited dental program. They must pass the same exact licensing exam that a dentist passes for their like procedures. They are regulated by the Florida Board of Dentistry. I was very proud to have served on the Florida Board of Dentistry for 9.5 years and be the very first hygienist to chair the Florida Board of Dentistry, so I know how important our regulating boards are. Mobility. Allowing a dentist or a dental hygienist to be able, who has license in another state, in good standing, to come to our state and not have to pass another clinical exam that is expensive will actually increase workforce in our state. Lastly is consider adding loan forgiveness program for dental hygienists working in underserved areas in the state. Graduating from a dental hygiene program in the state of Florida ranges from $25,000 to $80,000 for a 2-year degree. I thank you very much for serving this state and my time.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Catherine Uden and followed by Jennifer Sellers from the Lord's Place.
Good afternoon. It's good to see you all again. My name is Catherine Uden. I'm the Senior Field Representative for Oceana. Oceana protects the oceans through policy change. An estimated 33 billion pounds of plastic enters the ocean every year. That's roughly the equivalent to dumping 2 garbage trucks full of plastic into the oceans every minute. South Florida is in a waste management crisis, and instead of reducing unnecessary single-use plastics, local governments are having to turn to ineffective and harmful solutions. The state legislature should support the repeal of preemptions that prevent local municipalities from being able to effectively reduce single-use plastic. Plastic is a health concern and a significant contributor to climate change as it's made from oil and gas. If plastic was a country, it would be the 5th largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world. Plastic pollution is killing marine life, including our endangered sea turtles. One piece of marine debris that we can easily prevent from entering the oceans is balloon litter. Balloon litter has been found in remote areas of the Florida Everglades. In 2022 alone, Biscayne National Park rangers and volunteers picked up 1,948 balloons, and those were just the ones on record. Despite the wildlife impacts associated with balloon litter and the ribbons attached, it's currently legal in the state of Florida for each person to release up to 10 balloons per day. Even balloons marked as biodegradable cause harm to wildlife. Representative Cheney and Senator DeSegli are expected to file a bill that would update Florida's balloon release law to not allow any intentional littering. This bill is meant to prevent balloon littering events from taking place. Travis Moore is Oceana's contact in Tallahassee if you would like to learn more about this bill to protect the environment. Hopefully it's a very simple update that you'll support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear, actually, it's going to be Steve Kofel from the Lord's Place. Jennifer is ill. So, Steve. And on deck will be Julie Swindler, CEO of Families First.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, delegation members, and distinguished guests. Any of you who know Jennifer Sellers as well as I do know that she's very unhappy that she couldn't be present here today. My name is Steve Sofel. I'm the Director of Support Services at the Lord's Place. I started to work for the Lord's Place in 2018. Because of the nature of what I'm going to discuss, I'm going to go a little deeper than that. The fact is, my relationship started with the Lord's Place in 2012. I'd been homeless for 3 years due to my alcoholism. I had medical problems, emotional problems, depression, but I was able to find my way to the Lord's Place. And they addressed those needs. I was put on the care team where I was under the, I had a psychiatric nurse practitioner I had a therapist that I saw weekly, and like I said, the medical issues were also addressed. I went to outpatient treatment for the alcoholism. And all of that was because of the Lord's Place, and all of that was because of the care team. At the Lord's Place, we provide street outreach and supportive housing, reentry assistance, job training, and wraparound services to 1,838 of the most at-risk Palm Beach County residents each year. According to the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, it is estimated that 25% of those experiencing homelessness also suffer from a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, bipolar, or other psychotic disorders. SAMHSA further estimates that up to 50%.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to ask you what is the ask? If you could just
Okay,
tell us what the
I'm
ask
sorry, I
is,
didn't
because your
realize.
time is up, and I do want to hear from you.
Okay.
What is your ask?
I was almost there. We are requesting an appropriation of $300,000, only 16% of the total cost to expand our mental health services across all programs, like I was talking about the care team.
Yes.
With the care team comes a psychiatric nurse practitioners, social workers, therapists, medical staff, case managers, peer specialists, SOAR liaisons to provide integrated health care and coordinated for individuals struggling with mental and behavioral health problems.
Thank you very much. And I know we do have one question from Representative Edmonds. I'm sorry we have to cut you off.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you tell us how many people do you all get off the street into a home and do not return to the Lord's Place? Or what percentage?
I don't know the exact figures. That would be something and I can direct Jennifer Sellers to you. I know that on any given night, there's 300 people that are not on the street.
Right.
Much of that is PSH housing, permanent supportive housing.
Okay, I would love to figure out the number that you all get out of the Lord's Place and they do not return to fix the issue of homelessness, which is the mission of the Lord's Place, correct?
I will say this, 84% of the clients do the care and coordination. This program, 84% of the clients reduced their use of emergency services last year, which is a valid indicator of improved health.
Right,
Thank
but
you.
the mission of the Lord's Place is to fix homelessness, correct?
Correct, yeah, we would like to stop it in Palm Beach County, absolutely.
Okay. I just find it troublesome that the millions of dollars we give to the Lord's Place, and we just want to make sure they're not putting a Band-Aid over a situation, but they're fixing a root cause. Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you. And I'm sorry we have to limit your time. Thank you for your testimony. Next, we'll hear from Julie Swindler from Family First, and we have Tara Oakler from Habitat for Humanity on deck.
Hi, good afternoon, Madam Chair Harrell and the Palm Beach delegation. Thank you for having me. My name is Julie Swindler. I'm the CEO of Families First of Palm Beach County. I'm requesting today 2 appropriations amounting to $150,000 each for our infant mental health program and our behavioral health services program, for 2 clinicians for each program. These appropriations have the support of Representative Caruso and Senator Powell. The infant mental health program is service for children ages 2 to 5 in the Head Start program served by the school district and the Lutheran services throughout the county. We have seen a lot of problems from the pandemic, but these children that were born during the pandemic have delays in social and emotional development, their fine motor and gross motor skills, and we're there in the schools to assess that and help with the parents, administrators, students, linking home to school. In our behavioral health program, we are working with our teens, actually our elementary students that start at age 5 to 22. We're seeing a lot of our kids that are severe trauma. There's a lot of suicidal ideation that we're very concerned about, and we do a lot of assessment for risk, for safety to harm others. 400 families we will serve there, and 50 families we will serve in infant mental health. I also want to thank all of you sincerely for the Healthy Families program that you've supported for many, many years. This past year, you were able to give $2 million statewide to support our staff so that they had living wages. So for that, I'm completely gratified. Asking if you can support recurring, because the last ask was for this year, and so we're hoping that we can maintain the standard of living. Our staff in Palm Beach County get anywhere between $18 to $20 an hour to do very difficult work. So thank you for your support of Healthy Families and for the support of our appropriations this next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you for what you do. Next, we'll hear from Tara Oakler from Habitat for Humanity, and Jennifer Sullivan, the Cultural Council for Palm Beach, will be on deck.
Thank you, Madam Chair and honorable members of the delegation, for the opportunity to address you on behalf of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Palm Beach County. A special thank you to Senator Polsky and Representative Caruso for your support of our appropriation ask. My name is Tara Oakler. I'm the Chief Operating Officer, and we're here to request your support of our local funding initiative titled Resilient Housing for Veterans and Essential Employees. This initiative seeks an appropriation of $700,000 to fund a range of critical housing projects in our community. At Habitat for Humanity of Greater Palm Beach County, we strive to build strength, stability, and self-reliance through shelter. We believe that every person deserves a safe and decent place to call home, and that includes our veterans and essential employees who have sacrificed so much for our community. Our Resilient Housing Initiative is our commitment to ensuring that these individuals have access to safe and affordable housing. The requested funding of $700,000 will be utilized to support the construction of 2 new homes, the rehabilitation of 2 additional projects, and 15 critical home repair projects. Our repair projects will focus on critical upgrades, such as the installation of new roofs and hurricane impact windows, which are essential in our region. These investments will not only improve the living conditions of our veterans and essential employees, but also enhance the overall resilience of the community. Our new construction efforts will provide veterans and essential employees with the opportunity to purchase their first home with a 30-year interest-free mortgage. The mortgage is also subsidized by Habitat so that the future homeowner will only pay 30% of their income towards their housing expenses at the time of closing. The median home sales price today in Palm Beach County is over $600,000, and the interest rate is over 8%. That makes our services essential for many people seeking the opportunity to purchase their first home. We believe that the Resilient Housing for Veterans and Essential Employees is a vital initiative that aligns with our collective values of supporting those who have served our nation and our community in a time of crisis. With your support, we can make a significant difference in the lives of veterans and essential employees, as well as their families. Thank you for your time and consideration and for your commitment to the well-being of our community.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Jennifer Sullivan, the Cultural Council of Palm Beach, and Claudia Kirk-Bartow will be on deck.
Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Jennifer Sullivan, Senior Vice President of the Cultural Council for Palm Beach County, and our mission is to support arts and culture in the Palm Beaches, which we call Florida's cultural capital. We do this work by providing support services to cultural organizations and creative professionals, administering public and private grants, and promoting cultural tourism. We also advocate for cultural funding, which is why I'm here today. Every year, cultural organizations from around the state submit grant requests in 4 categories to the Florida Division of Arts and Culture. These requests are vetted through a rigorous process, including a live panel, and then scored. All grants must be matched dollar by dollar by the organization, and twice annual reporting is required. This process happens every year, and every year funding for the program must be allocated during the legislative session. This year, the division has recommended funding 864 grants across the state at a total investment of $77 million in the next budget cycle. This is a banner year. Nearly 100 more grant requests, many of them brand new to the system, than last year, and $10 million more in funding. Among the total requests, there are 66 grants recommended to nonprofit arts, science, and history organizations in Palm Beach County for a total of $7.6 million. Nearly 10% of the full funding request. Every district has a grant recommendation, and we will need your support to help us secure this critical funding. Americans for the Arts just released their Arts and Economic Prosperity Study, which comes out every 5 years. The report shows that the cultural sector generates over $151 billion in economic impact in the U.S. and contributes 2.6 million jobs. In Florida, that economic impact is $5.7 billion and over 91,000 jobs. And in Palm Beach County, our sector generates $335 million and over 4,300 jobs. We are hoping for full funding of the Division of Grants recommendation because funding partners are critical, and we look forward to working with you this legislative session.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Claudia Kirk-Bartow, Junior Achievement of the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast, and on deck will be Laura Collis.
Good afternoon, Senator Harrell, Representative Casello, and members of the delegation. Thank you so much for being here and listening to us today. I'm Claudia Kirk-Bartow, the CEO for Junior Achievement of the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast, and our mission is to inspire and prepare young people to succeed in the global economy through classroom programs and simulations that focus on workforce readiness, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship. And Junior Achievement is dedicated to giving young people the knowledge and skills they need to own their economic success, plan for their future, and make smart academic and economic choices. Junior Achievement's programs seek to ignite the spark in young people to recognize the opportunities and realities of work and life. And we've been preparing the future workforce for over 40 years here on the Palm Beaches and Treasure Coast. And last year, we delivered 146,000 programs from Palm Beach to Pahokee, Boynton to Sebastian through our awesome programs team. And we were able to make that impact also with the support of over almost 1,000 volunteers from the businesses in the community, and through the use of technology and collaborating with local schools and community organizations. I'm almost out of time, so I just want to thank you for your support. And there's a massive information gap between employers and job seekers between today's students and the careers and opportunities they may pursue. And that's Mark Wilson saying that as the president of the Florida Chamber of Commerce. And we try to work with them. And there is an ask for 3DE across the state to continue to be funded, and that's a high school program here at Lake Worth High School and in Orlando at several schools in Tampa and 2 in Broward. So you'll hear more about that, and we'll come up to Tallahassee as well. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Thank you very much for what you do. Next, we'll hear from Laura Collis, CEO of Caridad Center, and on deck will be Roberta Good from Florida Death and Dignity.
Hi, thank you. I'm Laura Callis. I'm the CEO at Caridad Center. And as you know, we are the largest free clinic in the state of Florida, providing free health care and a medical home to over 5,500 uninsured, low-income people in our community. We provide over 40,000 patient visits every year, keeping thousands of people out of the emergency rooms and avoidable hospitalizations. We provide free medical, dental, vision, mental health, social services to people in our community that cannot afford health care. All of this is provided through over 100 volunteer doctors and funded through the generosity of donors and foundations. We receive little funding from the state and almost no funding from Palm Beach County. And this year we would like to ask for your support. We're excited to launch 2 mobile clinics, a combined medical and dental mobile clinic, and a vision van to expand access to hard-to-reach populations. As we serve the entire county, we invite each of you to visit our clinic if you have not already, and we'll be sending each of you an invitation to our ribbon cutting in the coming weeks. We thank the delegation for how hard you work for us and for fighting as hard as you can to improve access to care for the disadvantaged and uninsured members of our community. We particularly urge you to continue to fight for access to necessary reproductive health care for women and to value our LGBTQ community whose lives and access to health care are being impacted and threatened by current legislation. As a nonprofit charity, I believe that part of our work should be assisting our legislators to create a world that has no need for us to exist anymore because we've solved the problem of inequitable access to health care for all of our deserving community members, regardless of their economic standing. One way to do that would be to expand Medicaid for all Floridians. We're profoundly grateful for your continued support of our mission. Count on us every year to assist you in advocating for the creation of that world where we no longer need to exist. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Roberta Good, Florida Death with Dignity, and on deck is Gil Smart from Vote Water.
Thank you, Chair Harrell, and other esteemed delegates for the opportunity and the freedom to address you today. I'm Roberta Good, a volunteer with Florida Death with Dignity, and this beautiful woman is my mother, Rosemary. My mom raised me here, right here in Palm Beach County, and she taught me to tell the truth. I'm here today as a truth teller. The truth is, you can eat healthy foods, exercise 5 days a week, and you can still get cancer. You can have your mammograms and PSA tests on time, and you can take all your vitamins and still end up on chemo. You can support your country as a patriot, managing engine parts for fighter jets, as she did, and still spend your last weeks in hospice with uncontrollable pain. You can designate a healthcare surrogate, prepare your advance directives, and still be denied palliative sedation due to liability policies. The truth is, morphine can't control all forms of cancer pain, and that it can take up to 2 or 3 weeks to die even after a patient chooses to stop taking hydration and nutrition. Representative Campbell is sponsoring the Florida End-of-Life Options Act, which would expand end-of-life options for patients like my mom, Rosemary. I respect those whose personal beliefs may not support their own use of this bill, but in return, I ask that people who are actively dying have the freedom and autonomy to choose their end-of-life care according to their own beliefs and values. And I thank you very much for hearing my request today.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Representative Casello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of questions. Are the physicians that would provide this method, are they on board with this? Or what's their take on that?
Women rule the world. You have a multitude, again, the truth, of opinions on this, largely based on in many cases based on religious beliefs. And to be clear, some physicians have struggled with the Hippocratic Oath and how they read that, although that has been changed. I'm sure you know, it used to be that you would swear allegiance to Venus and Castor and Pollux and so on. I met this morning with the surgeon over at FAU Medical School, where I'm mentoring some residents. And she told me this is an essential option for those cases in which palliative care cannot effectively relieve the suffering of actively dying patients.
Thank you.
Thank you. Could I ask, we're so out of time, could I ask you to have a conversation after the meeting? I'd like a motion to extend for 30 minutes. Would someone make the motion to extend?
Second.
So moved. We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank
Moved
you.
and
I'll
passed.
stay
We will
after.
extend for 30 minutes.
No opposed?
And we will, if you have additional, if people want to have long conversations and details, please stay afterwards, and we will make sure you are heard, okay? And next, we'll hear from Gil Smart with Linda Smith on deck.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Senators, Representatives. My name is Gil Smart. I'm Executive Director of Vote Water. We're a South Florida conservation group that, as our name implies, believes Florida's water crisis is a political problem and requires a political solution. As such, there are 2 issues that are guaranteed to come up in Tallahassee this session. We wanted to make sure they're on your radar screen. The first has to do with urban fertilizer ordinances with a summer blackout period. As you may be aware, Last session, a line was stuck into a budget implementing bill authorizing IFAS to do a study on how effective these ordinances are. Such ordinances are in place in 18 counties and more than 100 municipalities across Florida, including the village of North Palm Beach, town of Jupiter, and the city of Palm Beach. They are literally the easiest, the simplest thing any county or municipality can do to keep excess nutrients out of the water. Unfortunately, we believe that the IFAS study is going to say that these type of ordinances are ineffective, and that that's going to be used as a jumping off point for legislative proposals to preempt local authority to pass such an ordinance or even repeal existing ordinances. We believe that some of the studies that IFAS may be relying on to reach that conclusion may be flawed, and we believe that any legislation that results in more fertilizer being used will result in more nutrients in our water, will result in more problems. We ask you to vote against any such proposal. The second issue has to do with wetlands protections. As you heard earlier, you may be aware the Supreme Court of the United States recently ruled that wetlands not connected by a continuous surface connection to permanent water bodies like a lake or river are not protected under federal law. We've already seen similar attempts in other states and some Florida counties to roll back their own protections. The Florida legislature must not follow suit. Wetlands play a crucial role in terms of water quality, flood mitigation, and habitat. Over 31% of Florida is wetlands. And we ask that you oppose any proposal to weaken wetlands protections or preempt local governments from enacting their own protections.
Questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Linda Smythe. Smith or Smythe?
Smith.
Smith, okay, and Executive Chair of the Sierra Club. And then on deck is Dominic Phillips.
I have provided two handouts. I'm going to start first with the Sierra Club Florida Big Picture. It outlines issues of importance for all local governments. My ask is to allow local governments to address the impact of climate change and protect natural resources, reduce single-use plastic, which has also been discussed today, and do not approve any more waste-to-energy facilities. We need to reduce all waste. And also, ditto the last speaker, implement strong urban fertilizer, herbicide, and pesticide ordinances. Allow those to stand. Please don't cut local governments off at the knees. Local governments have a right, responsibility, and obligation to preserve local water quality for its citizens. On the economy, we need to invest in affordable, resilient communities. Please hold large corporate utilities accountable for abuse. Invest in cutting-edge industries that work on renewable energy projects. And then my last topic in the other handout is issues about trying to stop the burn, stopping the sugarcane burning. There will actually be a demonstration this evening at the Health Department asking for common sense warnings to be issued to citizens. We already did it during the Canadian wildfires, but why not for local burning? We have already had the studies, and we have all felt the effects of the smoke, both Canadian and sugarcane. Yes, we need to protect farmers, but we also need to help them to transition to healthier farming practices. We need to encourage organic sugar use. My ask is to let the Sierra Club help you on your conservation and environmental issues, and I am so glad I was able to plug in my car here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much. We will hear from Dominic Phillips, followed by Daniel Lahansky.
Hello. My name is Dominic Phillips, and I'm speaking under my authority as a citizen of the state of Florida per Article 1, Section 1, 2, 4, and 5, the Florida Constitution. Please refrain from asking questions until my time has ended. In 1689, John Locke postulated the theory of natural rights. Locke wrote that when people leave the state of nature and come together to form a civil society, they create and empower a government to do for them what they cannot do for them they once did for themselves, with certain limitations. This compact is called a constitution, and it's the law that governs those who govern us. 87 years later, Thomas Jefferson enshrined Locke's words in what we know as the Declaration of Independence, In the second paragraph of that document, Mr. Jefferson stated, quote, "And to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men." Mr. Jefferson was referring to the natural rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Title 45, Chapter 768.21, subsection 8 violates Section 9, 21, and 22 of Article 1, Florida Constitution, which speaks to due process of law and a citizen's right to access to court and to trial by jury. Also, Amendment 14 of the U.S. Constitution, which reads, "No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law." For the past 3 decades, all of these protected rights have been violated by Title 45, Section 768.21, subsection 8. In closing, I call on you today to come together as the people's representatives of the state, House, and Senate to correct this error of past legislators and right this wrong. Thank you. And we do have a House Bill 129 that we would like support, real support this year on, if anyone would like to support us.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you very much. We'll hear now from Daniel Lyshansky, Palm Beach District Chair, Floridians for Popular Vote, and Mark Hoppen from Alpert Jewish Family Services will be on deck.
Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members, I am Daniel Lyshansky, a member of the nonpartisan Floridians for National Popular Vote, and I'm going to be as brief as I can be. Currently, the winner of the presidential election is determined by what happens in just 5 to 8 swing states. Those swing states get all the attention, while the other 45 states with 80% of the population are taken for granted. That swing states choose the president is not new. What is new is that there are fewer and fewer swing states, and that means there are fewer and fewer voters selecting the president. The Founding Fathers never intended for this to be the way we choose the president, and National Popular Vote would correct it. It will guarantee the presidency to the candidate who receives the most votes in all 50 states and the District of Columbia combined, not just the most votes in a handful of states. National Popular Vote does not change the Electoral College. It does not need a constitutional amendment. It's state-sponsored legislation. So far, 16 states in the District of Columbia have enacted National Popular Vote. That's 205 electoral votes. At 270, it takes effect. At that point, every voter in every state will be relevant. Some of you have already co-sponsored in previous years and already committed to co-sponsor this year. I'm asking each of you to support National Popular Vote and to even co-sponsor it. In the House, it's HB 67 by Representative Gottlieb, and in the Senate, it's SB 236 by Senator Torres. And I'll stop with 4 seconds to go.
Questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now we'll hear from Mark Hoppen, CEO of Alpert Jewish Family Services, and on deck will be April Curtin.
Yes, hi, I am Mark Hoppen, the CEO of Alpert Jewish Family Service. We proudly serve approximately 12,500 people in our service area from Boynton Beach to Vero Beach. If you did not hear, we are the proud winners of the Nonprofits First Award for the Nonprofit Agency of the Year in their large category. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also, from Senator Berman to Executive Director Nolan, I want to thank all of you in between for supporting our prior appropriations requests, and we have a number of requests this year. Oh, I had extra time. A number of requests this year that I also am hoping for your support for, Senator Harrell. That is my ask for today. I would love to spend more time talking about that. However, the events of October 7th have caused me to speak about some other things. The lives of Jewish people here, both in Israel and here, have changed forever. This is our never again that we never thought we would see. There are over 200 Holocaust survivors that our agency serves, over 600 or 700 that Ruth Rail serves. We are amazed that we are seeing this today. It is causing all Jews, any constituents that you have in your communities to be concerned about what is happening in Israel. We all have friends and families. Nearly every Jew has a friend or a family member living in Israel. If you don't know of a Jew that has a friend or family living in Israel, you do now. You know me. And so we share that concern. I am wearing a Star of David, and we are concerned about whether it's safe for me to do that in America now. And so and I know that next week you're going into a special session where I believe there's going to be a request to allocate security funds to Jewish community. I hope that you will support that amount of money, whatever it is, and more. It is definitely needed. Our agency, in response to this, I believe this has been sent to all of you. We have started these virtual support groups, one for anybody in the community and one for people working in the Jewish community. And I would just urge you to circulate that to anyone that might need that kind of support. One thing that just to add and to close on is we have been collaborating with other agencies. You will note in our appropriations requests, only one is for our agency. The rest are in collaboration with one or more agencies. We are very open to working with any and all agencies in our community to provide services. And with that, I'll say Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I did want to let you know that the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House have a joint proclamation in the support of Israel and the Jewish people.
We are so grateful for the support of all of you and our governor.
Thank you.
It's amazing. It's amazing what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from April Curtin, followed by Joy Feiner from the American Cancer Society.
Hi, good afternoon. You are listening to a lot of words and a lot of issues that people are very passionate about. So thanks for taking the time to hear me. My name is April Curtin. I grew up in Lantana. I live in Lake Clark Shores now, and I work here as an educator in Green Acres. Florida prisons are hot. 75% of the Florida prisons do not have air conditioning. Today I'm going to talk to you about voting yes for air conditioning in Florida prisons. I never thought I'd become involved in this cause, but the issue can happen to anyone from any background. And when you have a loved one in prison, you learn quickly about the broken parts of the system. And then you're compelled to speak up. So here I am speaking up. Florida prisons are very hot. If it's 88 degrees outside on an average summer day, it's 15 degrees hotter in a Florida prison without air conditioning. That makes conditions living and working in 103-degree temperatures oppressive. Some of the prisons have a great dog training program on their facilities, on the grounds of the prisons. The requirements for these programs are that the dogs must be housed in specific temperatures. And if not, it's seen as animal cruelty. But there are no such requirements for our human loved ones also residing at the same facilities. I ask that we start treating our incarcerated loved ones as human beings like we would treat our neighbors, because like my son, 90% of these folks will be returning to society. I ask that you support House Bill 181 to finally fund air conditioning for Florida's prisons. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Thank you.
Who is that? Did you have a question? Gainesville, Yvonne Hayes Henson.
Representative Hanson.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Joy Feiner of American Cancer Society, and Tara Evans-Ark will be on deck.
Good afternoon.
My name is Joy Finer, and I am a 22-year volunteer for the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, the nonpartisan, nonprofit advocacy affiliate of the American Cancer Society. We work on behalf of the nearly 153,000 Floridians who will be diagnosed with cancer this year to promote policies that will reduce the cancer burden and ultimately save lives. I'm here today to talk to you about the importance of biomarker testing and making sure cancer patients receive the right treatment at the right time. I'm hoping that you will address this issue during the 2024 legislative session. Progress is improving cancer outcomes increasingly involves the use of precision medicines, which uses information about a person's own genes or proteins to prevent, diagnose, and treat diseases like cancer. Biomarker testing is an important step for accessing precision medicine, including targeted therapies that can lead to improved survivorship and better quality of life for cancer patients. Not only can biomarker testing match a patient with the most effective treatment for his or her cancer, it can also help them avoid effective or unnecessary treatment. Unfortunately, insurance coverage for biomarker testing is failing to keep up with the advancements in treatment. This means many cancer patients aren't getting access to the best treatment for their cancers. As state legislators, you have the ability to ensure that appropriate biomarker testing is covered by state-regulated health plans, including Medicare. As a 42-year cancer survivor, this issue is a passion of mine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Senator Polsky.
Thank you so much. So glad that you're here and advocating for it. You've got a couple of other cancer survivors here with you.
Yes, I do.
I believe that I am filing this bill. I believe I put it in drafting, and yes? Okay. So if anyone would like to be my House sponsor, I would love to have you. We hope to be successful this session.
Wonderful. I will have the House bills on number soon for the biotesting, and then the Senate one. We're looking for sponsors.
No,
I believe
I'm
she's
the
the
Senate
sponsor.
You are. Thank you so much.
I don't know, is there a House sponsor?
Yes, is Representative Karen Gonzalez Pittman from District 65.
Great.
So, but
As I
thank
said,
you
I
so
think I'm
much.
the sponsor, but you know, you
Now
never
we have
know.
a Senate sponsor.
Okay,
Thank you so
thank-
much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Tara Evans from ARC of Florida, followed by Jennifer Dana, Communications Supervisor, Palm Beach Sheriff's.
Hi, I provided a package. It's in there if you want to look at that. My name is Tara Evans, and I'm the parent of a nonverbal and non-ambulatory daughter with cerebral palsy. She is one of the lucky ones to be receiving services from the iBudget waiver. There are currently over 22,000 disabled Floridians on the wait list. Yet at the end of this past fiscal year, APD handed back $59 million of unused funds that would have triggered a federal match of $98.6 million, totaling over $100 million. They also placed $117.5 million in reserve, which would have triggered a $203 million federal match, equaling $321 million, which could have gone to get people off of the wait list. Appendix K, a federal program which relaxes staff-to-client ratios without compromising safety, ends in 10 days. States can request an extension, which would greatly help our struggling providers. Our APD has not requested one. Florida's vocational rehab helps people with disabilities find and maintain jobs. Voc Rehab began a new invoicing system this May, which has now paid their 400 providers less than 10% of their bills from May through today. VR now owes over $6 million to providers, forcing them to stop or delay services to the disability community. This is unacceptable. Currently, direct support professionals who work with our most vulnerable population, assisting them with eating, bathing, and toileting, make $15 an hour. You can get a job at Walgreens, Wawa, and Starbucks for more than that, and instead of lifting a person, all you have to lift is a coffee cup. The ARC of Palm Beach County right now has an empty group home in Boca Raton because we cannot find anyone to work there for $15 an hour. Current group home and adult day training providers, who are largely nonprofit agencies, are being bombarded by increases in prices for gas, food, health insurance, and property insurance, as well as their aging facilities. The legislator is pointing to managed care as the answer. Well, isn't APD already a form of managed care? Why would we now bring in a third party that needs to make a profit to operate? Why would we need another hand in this pot? Why are we giving families with typical students an over $7,000 tax credit scholarship for private schools, which they can by and large afford and that they never even asked for? This program alone is costing us over $1 billion. Current providers have reduced services this year and will close down next year because of poor funding, increased funding, and decreased.
Thank you. We are very limited on time.
Okay.
And please see us afterwards, okay?
Our ask
Thank
is
you.
to get in the Social Services Estimating Conference. Could you please help us reach this goal?
Thank you very much.
Can we just also ask that, thank you, that you get in touch with some of our offices and maybe come up to Tallahassee also and speak? Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jennifer Dana, and also on deck is Matt Coward.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. My name is Jennifer Dana. I'm a communications supervisor at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. I'm accompanied by my esteemed colleague, Section Manager Ashley Zaylor. Between the two of us, we have 37 years of experience in 911 public safety telecommunications. Together, alongside with countless others you might never meet, we represent the heartbeat of 911, a lifeline in moments of terror, uncertainty, and desperation. When we meet others outside of 911 and tell them what we do, a question often resurfaces through casual conversation. So what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, you have the tearful confessions of those who've committed heinous crimes, the haunting silence of the hanging life in balance, emotionally charged situations with tempers flaring and quivering voices, patients whose hearts are beating too rapidly or perhaps not at all. Panicked voices of those who had fallen asleep at the steering wheel to be jolted awake by a splash and water rising to their neck. And just before it's time to hang up the headset and go home for the day, a mother whose toddler had wandered off into the backyard swimming pool. Around that time, you may nod politely and excuse yourself to find conversation with a partner more pleasant on a subject matter. But it's a question asked innocuously and from a place of genuine curiosity. And it's very telling. It shows us that the public knows we're confronting the worst of traumas that can befall human beings. They understand that each call we take resonates with an urgency that can be the difference between life and death. Time is a luxury we don't often have. And in each life-altering situation, subject matter experts unanimously agree that the first few moments that are critical for positive outcomes. When you break down the timeline of an emergency into different segments, beginning, middle, and end, it's precisely those vital moments before the first sirens wail and the first fire engine roars to life when 911 telecommunicators, the first responders, have sprung into action with life-saving guidance and instruction before the arrival of physical responders. Yet in Florida, our role is often relegated to the mere administrative or secretarial positions. Our ask here is that you consider us, we're going to be going to Tallahassee here in this next session, that you would support us in being recognized as first responders, as 911 telecommunicators.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Representative Casella.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I can speak on this from an expertise position here. I was a firefighter for 30-plus years, and I can tell you the 911 operator is our ears and eyes as we pull out of the station on our rig to the scene. You've saved many lives with the information that you relayed to me and my crew. I can tell you that from experience. I hope, I know this has been up there in Tallahassee before, I hope that this speaker this year will be on board with this and we can get this thing done because you well deserve it. And so I look forward to being supporting and an advocate up there in Tallahassee for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from Matt Coward, International Union of Police Associations, followed by Lisa Peterson.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Matt Coward. I'm with the International Union of Police Associations, IUPA 6020. I'm here in support of SB 14, sponsored by Senator Wright, and its companion bill in the House, HB 6005, by Representative Rizzo. What it is, it's an equitable claim bill for this gentleman standing next to me, for former Broward Sheriff's Deputy Maudy Hernandez. In 2007, Deputy Hernandez was on his way to do a follow-up investigation. He saw a motorcycle driving recklessly, running red lights, endangering himself, other motorists, pedestrians. He did a traffic stop on that motorist, which is what we want our police officers to do when they see a hazardous and dangerous situation. We want them to take action. When he did the traffic stop, the motorist lied to him about being a police officer, shoved him, and took off running. The deputy chased after him. During the foot chase, he pulled out a .45 caliber handgun, fired 2 shots at him. The first missed, the second was a headshot. He survived. Suspect, after shooting the deputy and he went down, he tried carjacking a tourist from Canada afterwards. He was ultimately taken into custody by the Hollywood Police Department and convicted for attempted murder. The suspect who did this was on probation under the supervision by the Department of Corrections. He had a 4-month probation officer assigned who had about 100 caseload. There was a big investigation done into this. The suspect told his probation officer he was carrying a gun. He said, "I'm an armed security guard and I'm a United States Marine." Both were lies. The investigation revealed the probation officer never even bothered to check if he worked for that company. So over 16 years later, this deputy's without his career. He lost out on a plethora of opportunities. He tried doing a suit through the courts, couldn't go anywhere, so this is an act of legislative grace if you guys try to approve it. The case didn't go anywhere. There's still a pending lien against him by the workers' comp provider for $1.13 million. And he's got a life care plan too. He's not getting all the treatment that he needs because he's got to come out of pocket for some of it. So the ask is for you all to overwhelmingly support it and advocate for it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Representative Costello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Real quick, Matt, you came into my office, you told me Mr. Hernandez's story, and my heart goes out to you and your family. And thank you for your service. Claims bills, it takes time sometimes, it takes years. So when it comes up there this year, don't be frustrated. It's a process that needs to go through. I know that my colleagues here will probably support this. Hopefully they will support it on both sides of the aisle, and we can get the process started. But stay with it. It might take some time, but we'll get it done. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Elsa Peterson, Florida Medical Rights Association, followed by Jason Morales.
Hello, this is my 37-year-old son, Jimmy. He was a victim of severe negligence. On August 20th, 2021, after being at Cleveland Clinic Traditional Hospital for 6 weeks, he had a cardiac arrest at 5:21 a.m. after he was intubated. That was the same day he was supposed to come home. He had been petrified for weeks before, telling the nurses he was going to die, and they brushed him off. I became his medical guardian on August 25th, 2021, and a copy of the court order was given to the hospital. The doctor in charge of the case encouraged me to pull the plug and let him die. After I said no, I was banned from visiting him. I called and emailed each day asking for information, and the hospital refused my request. They did not recognize the court order, citing COVID protocol. I offered to sign a waiver releasing them from responsibility if I got sick. They refused, and I tried to get my son transferred to a different facility, but I couldn't because he was intubated. Without family support, his condition worsened, and on September 6, 2021, 16 days after his first cardiac arrest, he suffered a second one and died. The hospital personnel yelled at me after I came in, prayed over him, and took his picture. A private autopsy determined he died of severe sepsis. The hospital refused to take COVID off the medical record, even though he did not die from COVID. The hospital was protected from accountability by Statute 76821. To remedy this, I ask if you would please support House Bill 77 and House Bill 129, and also revise SB 248 to mirror the House bills so that we can get this done and we can stop this abuse. Thank you. I made it.
Thank you. You got 11 seconds. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we'll hear from Jason Morales from SEIU, followed by Maxine Derkach from Moms Demand Action. Do we have Jason Morales?
Come on.
All right, Maxine.
This is SEIU?
No, it's Maxine.
Okay, Jason Morales, going once.
Doesn't look like he's here.
Going twice. Sorry, Jason. Next, we'll hear from Maxine Derkach, Moms Demand Action.
Madam Chair and the delegation, good afternoon. My name is Maxine Derkach. I am a retired attorney, former prosecutor, and 30-year resident of Palm Beach County, and a volunteer with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. In that role, I'm here to talk about 4 actions that will make our state safer. First, we encourage you to restore community violence intervention funding. $5 million was approved in the last session but vetoed by the governor. These programs have been shown to reduce gun violence in the most impacted neighborhoods and include street outreach workers who intervene in conflicts before they become violent, hospital-based programs that provide support and services to gunshot survivors to help deter future conflict, and hands-on mentoring programs with at-risk youths. Second, we urge you to oppose HB 17. The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act of 2018 imposed a 3-day waiting period between the purchase of a gun from a dealer and when the buyer can take possession of that gun. Meanwhile, a background check is done on the buyer. So the delivery is 3 days or upon completion of the background check, whichever occurs later. HB 17 will dangerously roll back that law by mandating that the buyer can get that gun after 3 days, even when law enforcement needs more time to complete the background check. Third, also as part of the 2018 law, the age to buy all firearms was raised from 18 to 21. Data tells us that 18 to 20-year-olds commit gun homicides at triple the rate of adults 21 years and older. We urge you to maintain the current age limit for all firearm purchases. Finally, there is broad bipartisan agreement that safe firearm storage laws save lives by reducing unintentional shootings, gun suicides, and thefts of firearms. Florida should require that firearms be stored securely anytime they are not in the owner's possession, including in vehicles. I note that Senator Polsky has filed Senate Bill 170.
Thank you very much. We are got a couple more to go, and we're going to be out of time in 7 minutes. I have Laura, next we have Laura Cusack, followed by Shannon Bannerman. Laura Cusack, Senior Victims Advocate Coalition for Independent Living Options. Are you here, Laura? Okay, we next have Shannon Bannerman.
I think somebody's walked up.
This is Shannon.
Are you, excuse me, ma'am, are you Shannon Bannerman?
Sharon.
Sharon. Thank you.
Can he hand these out?
Yeah, we can pass it on. Thank you.
You're recognized.
Hi, I'm Sharon and my husband Eric. We've lived here all of our lives in South Florida. A little over 2 years ago, our 25-year-old daughter, Savannah, who was an aspiring nurse, went to her place of employment at Bethesda West Hospital to get help because she was sick. 2 evenings in a row, she went to the ER to try and get help. She was never helped. She died. Unfortunately, she falls under the Florida statute 768.21, subsection 8, where if you're 25 years old or older, single, widowed, divorced, at the time of death with no dependents under 25 and die at the hands of a medical facility or a medical professional due to medical malpractice or neglect, your surviving loved ones are denied their constitutional right to have their day in court simply because of that category of the people I just described. That particular statute serves as a shield for the negligent medical personnel, and because of this legislative protection, their negligence never gets brought to public light, resulting in them exposing all citizens and visitors of Florida to their negligent brand of health care. This law was put in place in 1990 to bring down the cost of malpractice insurance premiums. According to doctors, hospitals, and insurance lobbyists, malpractice premiums in Florida are still the highest, one of the highest in the country. So clearly it's time to look for a different solution and put a stop to singling out a specific group of people, violating our rights and denying the surviving victims their day in court. Therefore, Florida statute 768.21, also known as the free kill law, needs to be completely abolished. Please hear and pass the House Bill 129.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions? Thank you. We're so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Aaron Kolowski. And Adama DeSeal is on deck. Aaron Kozlowski, are you present? No. Adama DeSeal, Achievement Centers for Children and Families. You're recognized.
Thank you and good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to address the delegation. I, again, represent the Achievement Centers, and as everyone knows, the Achievement Centers has provided community responsive programs in Delray for over 55 years. I want to thank all the representatives in ED Nolan and the aides that have visited and toured the ACCF facility over the past few months. Special thank you to Senator Berman and Representative Casello for sponsoring and supporting our request for appropriation for the proposed Ready to Work program. So Ready to Work is a comprehensive workforce development program that takes a multi-generational approach to workforce development using a collective impact model. Ready to Work taps into many local vital resources, programs, and services. This is done through the partnership, with our local school districts, as well as other district representatives, the Delray Chamber of Commerce, Career Source of Palm Beach, the Small Business Development Center, and local niche organizations, as well as the local college access network. The pillars of the program are academic achievement, financial literacy, entrepreneurship and micro-enterprise, as well as college and career readiness and employability. So we hope that we can present this to you guys in more detail as we visit you all in Tallahassee. And we also hope that the history that the Achievement Centers has in the community will help to garner more support for the program. So leave time for questions if they have.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Brand new.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your hard work on this. Next, we'll hear from Mara Plant, Florida Health and Nutrition Coalition.
Okay, hello. Thank you, dear senators and representatives. Thank you for your service. This is not easy day, but it is worth it. I come to introduce the new Food is Medicine bill for 2024. It's HB 253, sponsored by Rep. Caruso. I'm Maura Plant. I'm the founder and CEO of Living Hungry, and I'm also one of the founders of the Florida Health and Nutrition Coalition, along with UF-IFAS, the American Heart Association, Pro-May Foundation, Found Care, and Eat Better, Live Better. What it does, what does this bill do? It requires ACA to request a waiver, 1115, from CMS for federal funding for 2/3 of a Medicaid pilot to test food as medicine interventions in Florida over 5 years among chronically ill patients who are the sick and the poor with diet-related disease. So who is it for? In Palm Beach County, the pilot is for high-need, high healthcare utilizers living in diet-related diseases like diabetes, obesity, and heart disease. These patients end up in the emergency room for lack of healthy food and lack of self-management skills at the end of the month. Food as medicine saves money on ER visits, long-term care, and hospitalizations to the tune of $6,300 a year from a national study by JAMA. How does it help Palm Beach County? Palm Beach County is one of 3 counties proposed in the pilot, and there are multiple benefits for doctors, hospitals and healthcare clinics, managed care organizations and PSNs, healthcare workers, farmers, patients, and their families. Just to go over a few. For doctors in Palm Beach County, they get a share of the savings each time they refer someone. Can be as high as $3,000 for the Massachusetts numbers. A lot of doctors are confronting burnout right now, and by not seeing patients improve, this is challenging to them. However, the Healthy Food Prescription, which was a sponsored program of the Healthcare District of Palm Beach County for 6 years, was recently evaluated by Dr. Dari Mozaffarian at Tufts University, his team. And the Healthy Food Prescription delivered a sharp drop in HbA1cs of 0.8 points in 6 months' time. So there's a lot of people that can benefit, and we appreciate your support, any support in moving this forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, members, we do have 4 public comments. I'm going to ask your indulgence so we can just hear from these folks who've sat through a whole 3-4 hours of meeting. So let's be quickly, and if you can keep it even below 2 minutes, I would so appreciate it. We'll hear first from Pastor Ray Whiteley.
Good afternoon, and thank you for giving us this time. My name is Pastor Ray Whiteley,
and I'm a congregational organizer for Faith in Florida. The mission of the organization is to build a powerful, multicultural, nonpartisan network of congregations and community organizations in Florida that will address systemic racial and economic issues that cause poverty for our families. Today I speak from the pain that I hear from the parishioners and community members, but also from the heart of an impacted person whose insurance premiums have changed from $3,000 to almost $8,000 per year. This rising cost of insurance left many of us fighting with the dilemma of prioritizing immediate needs or safeguarding our future. It's a decision that no one should have to make. These premiums have become an overwhelming burden, further adding to the financial strain and families and individuals in Palm Beach County carry. And I'm gonna skip forward. It is important to explore all possible avenues for assistance, directing funds to local community organizations, nonprofits, and government programs that may offer support in time of financial hardship. There were programs like My Safe Florida Homes, one specifically that provided some assistance, but what happens to people who are struggling but are not below the 80% household median income? Or they are struggling, but they can't find the funds that weren't matched. These are questions that need to be addressed and answered by the officials who we trust and voted in to make the decisions to guide us through this. And thank you. I'm not going to,
Thank you very much.
time.
Any
Thank you.
quick questions or comments?
Real quick.
Thank you. Representative Costello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pastor Whiteley, I just want to thank you personally for what you do in my community, in my district, as bringing the communities together, the people together. You've done yeoman work since when I was on the city commission in Boynton Beach, and now as a state representative, and I thank you for your hard work.
Follow up.
Senator Powell.
And I'll echo those sentiments of Representative Costello, and I'd like to get with you and Pastor Drayton at some point to talk about maybe doing a town hall on insurance inside of the community.
Thank you. Let's hear now from Deborah Ferris, Defend Florida. And on deck is Shannon Otto. So if you could come forward, followed by Gabrielle Fox.
Good afternoon, members of the Palm Beach County Legislative Delegation. My name is Debbie Ferris, and I'm representing the Election Integrity Coalition. I am here to offer insight into citizen verification in the state of Florida. Immigrants in Florida, like myself, make up 21% of our total population. We are ranking number 4 in the country as the highest percentage of foreign-born non-citizens. Currently, we are estimating that the illegal population in Florida is 1.7 million. Non-citizens obtain driver's license here in Florida and are given social security numbers, federal IDs, and license at the border. Social security and driver's license do not verify citizenship. All Florida residents, including non-citizens, are offered many ways to register to vote, including online, third-party registration, social services organizations, DMV. Neither the SOE, the Secretary of the Supervisors of Elections, or the Florida Department of State are compelled under law to verify citizenship. In fact, voter registration forms is simply check the box, and Wendy Links, our SOE, corroborated that it is by the honor system that they check the box. We need to close not a loophole at this point. It's like a hanging noose that is growing larger and larger by the year. I am grateful for this opportunity to speak to you on this very important topic. All citizens should be confident in their elections. Elections should be free and fair for all, and that even though we have a border crisis in this country, our Florida state representatives will hold the line to ensure and secure that our vote is safe, which is the very fabric of this nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Gabriella Fox, and then I do have one to read into the record.
Good afternoon, members of the legislative delegation. My name is Gabrielle Fox from Palm Beach Gardens. Thank you for being here. I'm representing 20 members of our Palm Beach County Election Integrity Committee here today. I'm a candidate as well, so this is an important issue for me. We strongly request revisions to statutes and current legislation which will strengthen our voting system and protect those who are eligible to vote, American citizens. To reiterate some of what Debbie mentioned, in the last 3 years, we have had over 1 million non-citizens that were given driver's license or state IDs in the state of Florida. There are many pathways for them to register to vote as well. In other states, they use the SAVE program, Systematic Alien Verification Entitlement. Florida does not. Our acceptance of voter registration applications needs to be more rigorous. Secretary Byrd, Secretary of State, is on video stating what we need to do is a deep dive into our voter registration system. Driver's license and state IDs need a designation to clearly distinguish between citizens and non-citizens. A different color or marking for certain licenses or identification cards would certainly help. These are just a few examples. I'm happy to expand on this. I am on a couple of committees and in a couple of election integrity groups in the state. It's a statewide issue. It's a nonpartisan issue. Rasmussen recently did a poll. 66% of all likely voters, including all parties, are concerned about cheating in the upcoming 2024 election. This is a nonpartisan issue, and I hope that you will address it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And a reading into the record from Sharon Waite. She would like to address voter fraud and wants to make sure all deceased are removed from the voting rolls.
Madam Chair.
Senator Powell.
As we close, I just want to say that, I want to be clear here for those of you who have made your last comments. We in the state of Florida, over the last few years, have made it more difficult to register people to vote and for people to vote. So for you all to stand up here and indicate that the state has done something other than that and made it easier for people to vote and to perpetuate or proliferate the lie of fraud in our elections here in the state of Florida is disingenuous. We have made it very, very much more strenuous in the last few years for people to register and to vote. And I would be very much against indicating on people's driver's licenses whether they're a citizen, whether they're black, I don't think we need to have a new system of dictating how we issue driver's licenses. I think that we start to open up Pandora's box and we start to go down the wrong pathway. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Further comments or questions, members? Well, I would like to thank everyone who stayed to the bitter end. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you greatly. I want to thank all our members who were here today, and we have certainly appreciated the input of the public as well as all our constitutional officers. And we look forward to our next delegation meeting and the upcoming bill. And with that, Senator Polsky moves we adjourn. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Tina.